Cool.
Very cool to be back here. Twitch.tv.
Again.
Conspiracy Horseman in just in time, ready to hit the entrance. You know he's going to run with us. It's Chris Silvio. It's MSG. It's Hacker Hamin. It's the street team back to get lean, clean, and green on the scene. It's the new Light the Fuse graphic from Old Athers. Nothing else matters except putting over the show today, Infidels. Glad to be back with you. Yalla. I had to flip it on the verse there. I had something planned. Then I saw El Sexico run in, and we had to switch it up real quick, man. Made me happy. I just got off the FaceTime gimmick with Man Beast and the Hustler Rip Rogers, putting in work to get the next 2 episodes done. Want to appreciate them for putting in that extra effort. I heard the first one was red hot fire, so I'm excited to hear the first Stooge report from it, man. And there's plenty of other fun stuff going on. Had a big Friday locker room taping this morning with Stevie, and now we're back on the biggest Impact, all elite Impact, total nonstop Dynamite, Light the Fuse action. Everybody duck and cover and say word to your mother. It's my brother, MSG. How's it going, man?
Hey, I'm 2 times the same, getting ready to, deliver what was ever coming out of their insane brains, I guess you might say, is we saw back-to-back utilization of Kenny Omega on both nights, which I found interesting. Now, I mean, there's some arguments, I guess, that could be made about viewership and whatnot, but I'm here to give you numbers, and I think we might be able to have a conversation further on whether or not, if it really worked. But I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Silvio! I get that right?
Pretty good, Maddie. That wasn't too bad. Yeah. I see you've been studying our good old Uncle Tony over there. Looks like you got your broasters. Hamin's got the beard oil in. We're ready to roll.
Yeah, man.
Svelte and sexy.
Because I did have 2 big old white hairs right down the middle the other day. So we got to oil up. We got to get some color back into her, man. But yeah, dude, good to see you, Sil. Glad you could run in, man. And always great to be back with MSG as we got tons and tons of projects, stuff I got to Iggy you to, Matt, off the air. So please remind me so I don't forget. But yeah, Sil, how you doing, buddy? Good? Everything good? It was great for you this week, man. I was super pumped to get on there with Deeb FaceTime me. I didn't know you were going to be there at the Kayfabe APOC party, man. So it was good to see you guys all hanging together for Rick Victor's birthday, bud.
Yeah, top secret event at an undisclosed location. But no, it was a good crew of good brothers and sisters. Like Deeb had a good time. I just got done doing a shitload of blow up drills at PT today, so I'm a little winded, but I feel all right. And here we are. Fuck, man. Wrestling's been interesting as hell the last 48 hours. Last week.
Last 72, yeah, for sure.
So I'm excited to talk about that stuff.
Yeah, we should. They shook it up. You want to talk about numbers? One we can kick right off here. We watch Impact, and it's like 2,500, 3,000 live. Still on their Impact on Twitch, I'm talking. They had it a peak about 51,000 with the Omega promo, and they averaged out at about 42, 43,000 throughout the whole show. So if you're talking increase in data numbers, but then cable, they wish they would have had that type of ratio from what they had on Twitch. But go ahead, Matt.
So here's the numbers that I've gotten, did the research on. They had 221,000 live is what's being reported from the Nielsen ratings because they were number 96 in the top 100. They broke the top 100 Impact Wrestling.
Good.
That's the first thing. Which they don't do. The second thing is they also played. They played the whole show on replay on their YouTube. That got 225,000 views. You got 60,000 on Twitch, if you will, and then about 40,000 on Facebook. So we're talking about 650,000 total views this week as a whole for Impact Wrestling. Which, I mean, if you look by comparison of the 850,000 to 1 million to AEW, you definitely have to say there was at least some sort of 15 to 20% crossover that came over and watched Impact this week.
Well, I'd say there's even a higher percentage. Okay. I'd say as high as 80%.
That's what I said to Rick Vickery too, but
Well, and that's on that metric, but also inside that metric is 80%, if not all, of people who watch Impact also watch AEW too. So that audience already in the crossover is a core foundation. There's no doubt about it. But, dollars and numbers wise, man, they definitely brought the eyes over there. Creatively, maybe would have made some different decisions. But, there's no doubt that the hype in the wrestling world wanted to see and had them tuning in. I just wish Impact would have not foregone their, not credibility or anything, but like the ongoing intensity of their show in order to build this, because the big thing for Impact is to get people to say, wow, I'm missing this. I got to see that next week too with their under guys. And they had good matches and they had some good business, but it just didn't feel like it was set up for Impact guys to shine off the back of AEW. It was more of a Don Callis and Omega moment, and they were never in the ring at Impact. And that's kind of like, you need that. You know what I mean? You need that visual. So, and then did you see the Tony Khan infomercial still?
Yeah, did you see that?
Mm-hmm. I did. I saw both segments.
Okay. I don't know, man.
It was interesting.
Yeah. It took away from how big Omega's moment was. And it made so? And when you got the owner talking beforehand, like he's pulling the strings, this really feels to me like Ed Nordholm and those guys are greasing the wheels to sell Impact to Khan so he can have the Sting library. That it's got nothing to do with TV shows and crossover. They spent, I guess, $1.8 million. I remember Billy Corgan telling Ed Nordholm to pay him his money when it was like 2 or 3 days late after the deal. And he had put that number out there. So that's where I got that. But now with no shows, no touring, no way to sell pay-per-views really and pack a house full, Impact's got to be hemorrhaging money. And the only thing they have really of value is their tape library, because you see guys like the Rascals and Ethan Page jumping ship now too. So I got to believe there's a lot of people there on a pay performance basis, non-contract. And, they know once you see people starting to leave, we saw it when FCW and OVW a new day and you restart, or it's time to pack it up and sell it to break even or even for a slight loss if need be. So this felt more about Khan pulling the strings than it did anything else. And Brother's got to stop pushing his biceps up when he's cutting the promo.
I noticed those. It looked like he'd been doing some Stevie Richards fitness a Bay New Year. No, man, I didn't watch the rest of Impact. So I can't speak to what you said about it affecting their natural flow. But I really, really liked the Omega Callis segment from Tuesday night. It felt fresh. It was undoubtedly the best Kenny Omega promo I've seen him cut during his tenure at AEW. Callis is a fantastic promo. Them together, due to their natural chemistry, much like you and I, when they're together on screen, you feel it. And that's, I think, something that was kind of missing from Omega's previously. Is we didn't I don't think everybody had that connection to Kenny unless they were a fan of him. But I thought that jumped off the screen. I had no problems with it not being in the ring because it was so fresh and different. Like, I think if Scott Hall would have invaded Nitro and like went to the production truck in the first episode instead of the ring, I don't think I would have been that offended. Maybe it wouldn't have gone as well. I don't know, but I was all right with it, and it was a long segment. The Tony Khan thing, it was short, it was different. I don't really have any real negative criticism for it.
Let me ask you this. You know, one of the cardinal rules is, especially as officer, even as a manager, you even got me heat with my guys when they're taking the bumps and I'm outshining them. You know what I mean? And not like I'm out there to do that. I'm there to facilitate the scene, but sometimes the story dictates that, and then emotion gets involved, and then that does whatever backstage, yada, yada. Do you think him having that little infomercial piece that was kind of cringy because he's not camera ready to deliver promos? I don't care how many scrums you do. He's not the entertainment guy, right? It's like that now he's taken time that he could have used to get his own talent over. What if that was a Young Bucks push the book commercial or something along those lines? The worst thing you can do is have the boys start saying, oh, he's going into business for himself. And to me, this felt like a very big going into business for myself thing. Now, the other part of that it was good business and why I think the tape library, why there might be a buyout, aside from him saying I might buy this company, is during in between on Twitch, usually it's Melissa Santos doing little breakdowns, talking to the chat. Every segment they had TNA library throwbacks with all the AEW guys, even staying like meticulously placed to like start conditioning right out of the gate as well. So a smart business move. And then even on the show, Dreamer's promo with D'Amore backstage, their little scene, which I thought was the best scene on the show, to be honest with you. And it's Dreamer kind of going to bat for the boys and Barry and Callis and D'Amore going, this is what's best for business, and maybe serving Ed Nordholm as his master instead while trying to blow Dreamer off, but Dreamer knows it. And it's all in high-level office wrestling talk. I thought that was very good, but go ahead, your thoughts on that.
To play devil's advocate here, you're right in the sense that he is going to business for himself. But I think that's okay because his business is AEW. That's what he's trying to further. That's what he's trying to establish as the best, try to get as much buzz as he can. So I'm okay with him doing that because he's promoting his business.
But nobody's buying a ticket to see him.
No, but they are buying a ticket to see his company. And with Callis and D'Amore, okay, so you know that they are going to play the fourth wall where they're involved, they're the creative, and they're involved in whatever's happening with this merger or this invasion, whatever. So I think it does kind of make logical sense that AEW needs a figurehead, and everyone knows it's Tony anyway. I wouldn't have him doing an Eric Bischoff role. Don't get me wrong. I don't want him becoming an Eazy-E, but I think something like this, as long as he's not out there every week doing a 20-minute promo, small things, I think it worked.
I think the thing they missed on AEW, which was very cool, the helicopter. D'Amore should have gotten out of the helicopter with him. And D'Amore should have been the one to cut off Marvez while they powdered out to the other side. And D'Amore's the one that says, we'll answer all your questions in the ring later. I think we missed the payback of having Office on their show too,
That's a great addition.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So interesting stuff, man. I don't know. I just think the Khan thing, there was 1,000 other choices you could have done there with that time that would have served the product a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There could have been, but I was cool with it. Maddie, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I gave some of my thoughts yesterday when we on the Impact review. I thought that I liked the presentations. I liked it being a little bit of cheesy and 90s style as far as his paid advertisement, just from a production standpoint. I like when they do sort of nostalgia things. Impact Wrestling has kind of developed that alter universe, if you will. So I kind of played well into that. I thought it was, while I get that they're trying to set the seeds for some sort of Impact versus AEW rivalry, I did find it interesting as a business. Why would you then let someone trash your company on said advertisement? Maybe should have, they could have played into it, and they could have edited it out. Somebody could have argued about it later. I don't know. But I just found it interesting that they let Tony Khan say, I could buy this company if I want to. And, my company's pretty much better. And, right on their show. But that was probably
they bought it. They bought commercial time. I've seen AEW advertise on Raw.
Right. I get that. But as someone who works in cable, if let's say, I work for a Nexstar Media. So let's say, a competing company, Comcast, wanted to purchase time. If they on the commercial said, yeah, but don't worry about watching Nexstar Media. We could buy them if we wanted to. We're bigger than them. I don't think we'd put that commercial on the air, or we'd send it back and say, you need to edit this part out. You know what I mean? So that was my only choice and thought. But I mean, I get it. I understand it. It's the wacky world of wrestling. So I'm not going to make a big deal of it.
So I got to go in on the Omega promo though. Once he's,
by the way, do you have Action Book number 1, Silvio? Do you have that?
That's what I'm saying, dude. When you're going Superman comics, Spider-Man, you don't look cool anymore. You look very into a cosplay playing wrestler way. That promo did more to hurt Omega than it did to get anything else over. If anything, that championship looked phenomenal right there. And he had the chance to shit on WWE championship. Instead, they just buried Josh Matthews. And then he goes, this is the real belt. There is no other championship in wrestling. And he could have gone fuck Rich Swann, fuck Moose, fuck Sammy, or, all their champions, and then had those guys running out the back of the building and Omega be cool and hanging out the window, flipping them off. Door opens up and they throw Josh Matthews out of a moving bus and he's got to tuck and roll as they take off out of there. It was just a setup to come tell all the other champions, fuck off. There was no heat going out of this. And we're talking about the AEW title being Spider-Man comic number 1. Who is relating to that, bro? Not me at all. And all I can think of is going, remember when Triple H and Stone Cold went back and forth about who was the best Transformer? That's the equivalent of what it would be like in my mind. Just a total miss in content. The only thing I pop for, the Golden Sheik. That was it for me, dude. And if the other thing, I would have kidnapped Josh Matthews as a rib on Tony Khan saying you can't kidnap wrestlers.
And to that point too, before you jump into that, I was going to say, think about Kenny Omega. I think it would have been nice. He could have taken a shot at Shamrock too, right? It took you how many years to get into the Hall of Fame? It only took me 30 to get into my, there's a lot of things that he could have done there. Go ahead, Silvio.
You're still over there beefing with Shamrock after all these months.
I'm trying to get Omega. Now, if I can get Omega on my team, bro, now we got this.
I see what you're saying, Hamin. I still enjoyed the promo. The way that I look at it too is that the wrestling base is a bit different now. So in my estimation, and tell me if I'm incorrect on this, I feel like the wrestling business is consisting of guys like us who watched it when we were kids and loved it, and somehow are part of that minority that still is involved with it because we started working at it or still like it, whatever being. And then the other even larger portion of the fans are people that are into things like comics, are into things like anime, are into things like gaming, especially AEW fans, and likely a lot of Impact fans too. So while you and I aren't necessarily comic guys, Hamin, I think it does relate to people that are. I remember when I first started wrestling, it was like an even split in the training schools and locker room. Like Jimmy, for instance, huge comic guy. I wasn't. I like the Doors and Led Zeppelin.
Right.
So, what I mean? Some people relate to.
We are the comic book characters. The guys in the comic books don't go, I want Spider-Man number 1. You are Spider-Man. And now he is doing the opposite of that. He looks like a fan with a belt when he does that kind of stuff, dude. And I'm not saying we can't be fans of things, but you have to create a larger than life persona. And if you're going back to the cleaner, the what is a cleaner? Does anybody know?
Mm-hmm. It comes and takes care of a problem. Gets it on.
Take care of a problem after a murder, cleans up a murder. Right. Or dogs, right? So do you think the cleaner, I want the cleaner, the guy who's above murder and the killer, to be talking about comic books? Does that help his persona as can get out of any situation because he's the fastest gun in the West type shit? Dude, not at all. And then the further on that, it's all pre-tape. This is the best we were going to go with, dude. No.
So JC Big Sports Fan brings up a good point. I was making this point to Rick last night. He said, I'm not watching wrestling 4 nights a week, and I feel duped. They said, we will explain on Tuesday. Then they said, we will explain to you tomorrow. And nothing was said. And that was my complaint. Well, I think my complaint to Rick was I felt like it was the exact same promo both nights in a row.
It was 70% of the same promo, 100% that.
Don Callis cut virtually the same promo. On Wednesday, we saw Omega have a lot more verbiage, and he went in a few different directions. But
so if you're tuning in to be like, oh, this is going to be shock and awe, and then the second night when you think it's going to get stepped up and it's the same old shit, dude, it's like egg on my face again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, George Bush. Come on, bro.
And that was my argument to Rick too, that the same amount of audience, if we conglomerate all that together and they're getting 600 to 650,000 views, that's pretty much your diehard AEW audience right there. So the same audience, most likely there's a high I would bet I would take that parlay that they're watching the same show. So that was my only complaint. They should have mixed it up. They should have done something. One was a pre-tape. Okay, I get it. But you know what? The next night, you didn't have to do the chopper thing. You could have had him come out and done something different, and then that we could have been live, and you could have actually done something in the ring. And
would have been, you know, would have been better, and that is if, hey, he's in the ring, does something, and somebody's got to chase him off, Impact guys, and he leaves like they ran last time, but he gets in the chopper and takes off. The chopper spot should have been at the end where they're looking at, fuck you, and he's fucking flipping them off from above, you know, again, pre-tape wise. We're just missing on editing at the high points and getting stakes out of any scene. There was no stakes in that bus scene. A Lex Express joke. That's what it was, bro.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, just from a continuity standpoint, he should have rolled up in the bus. Like, at least I would have had a little bit of continuity there. I think
he did at the beginning of the show. They showed the bus coming in. Pretty sure they did. Oh, do you mean Wednesday, or are you talking about Impact?
Wednesday. He should have showed up in the bus from Impact because he was on the bus in the parking lot. They took off. Like, should have showed up in that bus. The chopper segment was weird, and I get it because it looks cool. Let's get a chopper. All right, I mean, cool.
But what's cool is escaping in a chopper, not landing in one when the heat's ready to go. Like, even the cool things, we're only getting 60% value instead of using them to the max. Someone goes, he should come in a chopper. I would be like, yeah, good idea. You know what? He should escape in a chopper. Oh, right? Like, that's how you one-up things, but there's nobody in a creative meeting doing that, obviously.
I want him and Callis rolling in Chip style on the motorcycles. That'd be pretty dope.
You want to ride in the sidecar?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? Let me ask you this, though, and I want you guys to be honest, and Hamin, I want you to look at this objectively. Are you guys not interested in what has been unfolding over the last week?
No, I'm interested in the crossover, but then the create and doing the business and the numbers and seeing that they can get interest as a marketing guy. Yes. If I was a fan watching this and expecting something, bro, really lackluster in my opinion, and got the wrong guy over. I'm more into Don Callis than I am into Omega at this point, man.
Maddie, are you not interested in what's been unfolding?
I am interested in the crossover. That is for sure. I hope that the crossover, though, and it unfortunately, I mean, I wouldn't say that it hurt last night's show, but I'd say in comparison to last week, what we saw last week to this week, I definitely felt a little disappointed. So I can't say that going forward, I'm even more. There's like a wave of momentum that I feel like I'm right on. I feel like that wave hit the beach and I came down.
Yeah, we hit an Impact sacrificed their own creative ongoing story to get that number, which is a choice that D'Amore had to make. That's what that scene was about without saying it. But as an avid Impact watcher, I was like, oh, they just fucked up the flow of the show and how things are instead of making better choices to get it all in there, man. There's just no heat with Omega being at Impact. Why was he even there? Just because he's with D'Amore? Like, I mean, with Cyrus, it just didn't flow, bro. And then that promo with the comic books is so not me. That's everything I don't give a fuck about.
So for context, Silvio, on Impact, Dreamer approached D'Amore backstage and was like, yo, we shouldn't be doing this with Impact. Like, I've done, or AEW, I've been in this situation before. And D'Amore went on to say, no, man, it's good for ratings. It's good for numbers. We got the hottest star and the AEW champion sitting in our parking lot. Why don't you go sell some T-shirts, right? So actually, I didn't even think about that until you pointed that out, Ben, and that was them saying it without him saying it. So. That's
ECW getting swallowed by fucking WWE, and it's the same thing about to happen here. And then we've even heard rumblings that WWE may be ready to work with AEW. It's there's a trap. As Ray would have said earlier, on the Impact Attack, they're going to do the same thing, man. They're going to do the same thing.
What is notable about this is after the NWO angle, which did great business, and the late 90s WWF, where it was the unpredictability of who's going to show up week to week and what are they going to say and do now.
Buy some followers.
Aside from the CM Punk leaving with the title angle, the pipe bomb promo, and the Nexus angle, 3 angles involving Punk. I do not remember any angle, at least in the last 15 years, maybe even 20, that had this kind of intrigue and this much buzz amongst wrestling fans. And I think that's a great thing.
I do
I'm
too.
all on board.
But that's all because of setup and what could be. When it came time to deliver in the promos on both shows, I just got to give them both a C-, man. Like, they just weren't there to be like, oh shit, this is happening, or he just punked out the whole entire Impact locker room and rolled off, and maybe they'll roll out to go to AEW, you know what I mean, and give chase. Or is it D'Amore doing an office stooge job, stab up on people? Like, we didn't get any. We got no stakes whatsoever, bro. Nothing Shakespearean, nothing like who done it, nothing big business, kind of like Wolf of Wall Street. I don't know, man. It really.
All I'll say is give them a chance. One thing that we know about AEW, and this is another example of it, AEW does a pretty damn good job at long-term stories and building angles. And I think they're going to do that with this one too. You know, they're not going to give us everything in the first 2 weeks. I have faith that it will be going somewhere in that direction. I'm hoping will be very good. So I don't think we can just write it off after one promo that I thought was really good and the second promo that I thought was pretty good.
I got a feeling that they could close the doors there in 4 weeks and get it off the books for 2020, man.
I don't disagree that like the excitement as far as in the wrestling universe isn't there. I think there definitely is some excitement with the crossovers. I would say as a fan, the last time I was maybe like really excited was when AJ Styles debuted for WWE, because that's how I'd been following his whole career. So that was more personal versus like the hype of like rivalries, right? But yeah, I think it should be interesting to see. But to your point, they could be purchased up, and as we discussed on the Impact Attack, though, it could be interesting if they were to purchase it. Could they just keep it as a second brand, just keep it as Impact, All Elite Wrestling, Total Nonstop Action Impact, or whatever, and just keep it as I think if you're gonna do that, I know unfortunately there's no way to do this right now in 2020. But it would be cool if they just bought it secretly and didn't tell anybody, because once you buy it, then that's going to kill the facade. Right now, we know they're working together, but there's at least two separate companies, so you can at least kind of create some sort of sense of disbelief that these two aren't working together. Like, oh, they actually are fighting, right? You can kind of get lost in that reality of wrestling. But once AEW buys them and we find out about them, then it's just like Raw and SmackDown for WWE. So I definitely. If they do buy him, it would be cool if they could just somehow figure out a way to do it correctly. I don't know. You guys are you're the writer, Ben. I'm sure you could figure out a creative way to make it interesting.
Stevie has some awesome ideas on how to do that. And even if they did show up to put Hamin and Callis in the ring together, talking real shit, you know what I mean? Some serious stuff if they were to cross over with Mox and them and talk real business, man. Like it was a good conversation this morning. Got some ideas, but like Sil says, we'll see where they go with this. But I wish we could have been on that meeting, Big Brother wise, just to be like, those are all right, but how do we punch them up? It seems like there isn't a creative team effort where people are saying yes to somebody's idea and we can get even more out of it. And here's how we do it. And then that person feels good because they had the idea and someone is agreeing with them and helping to punch it up even more. And then when they punch it up, that could inspire something in the original person who had the idea, and they'll punch it up even more. And now we're doing instead, it seems like one person's vision, and that's what we're going with. And no matter how second grade it may be.
I think they need to go all in on this. If they're going to do this and make it work, I think Kenny Omega's angle right now needs to be 1A. I'm not saying have him in every segment, but make the AEW Dynamite show like this has to have that angle featured above everything else. Then maybe if we want to do the Sting second, Jericho third, whatever. Last night was a good show. We had a lot going on, which is good, but there was a whole bunch of stories at once. I would kind of take that old 90s WWF approach. Remember McMahon's first match with Austin? They built those threads throughout the whole show of the Stooges training Vince and getting him pumped up. And then that moment came at the end. We had a bunch of matches and angles in between, but that was our focus. I'd like to see them do something like that.
I don't disagree. Well, guys, of course, you can check out the Friday Locker Room with Ben Hamin and Stevie on hackerhamin.podbean.com or on all of your podcast outlets. Just search Hacker Hamin, as well as on Ben Hamin's YouTube and on twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. You can also check out our sponsors, thebrosters.com. Pick up your bag of Russo Bro coffee. Use the promo code 5LB. That's 5LB. And you can get yourself about $8 off, essentially, tax shipping, saving you a little bit of money. So that way you can put that toward patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Sign up. And you just get it all together. And then bam, now you can listen to Rip Rogers FR podcast, brand new podcast.
Yeah, he's talking about Sting tomorrow too, from the heat that I took out in the promo on him. So Rip's talking about Sting, some other great stuff. As we'll have some funny videos to go along with it, extra content. I'm psyched to see this week's episode. I also want to say a shout out to Cody Wilkerson. Just bought some Zordos olive oil for Christmas as well. So appreciate you there, Briz, supporting. And then also Larry H, big supporter of everything we do. And he sent me a new motherboard for my CR10S 3D printer and tagged Creality in it. And they asked him about being an influencer. He goes, I'm not the guy you want. It's him. So it kind of sparked the conversation. And Creality may be sending me a new Ender 3 Max printer to test out and start doing videos that way, man. So I want to appreciate Larry for that, man. Very kind and thankful gift. I'm very appreciative. And it's out for delivery. He just emailed me. So it should be here today. And then I'll be swearing, trying to install a motherboard with my big fat fingers and getting things rehooked up so I can burn myself with hot plastics. It's a good time for everybody. And and we'll make some videos while we do it, man. But let's get to the news and the shoes.
Well, I didn't want to go too much into the news because you can listen to all that in the Friday Locker. And the only conversation I had was about Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho teased a dream match with Sting. Chris Jericho said whether it's unknown whether Sting will be able to wrestle after he did originally retire from in-ring competition after he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Chris Jericho, though, is clearly interested in locking up with the WCW legend as he posted a photo of the two of them together, simply stating, as the two wrestling legends have actually never competed in a match against one another. And I'm sure Chris Jericho could back up that information as he keeps track of every match he's ever been in. So if he says he's never gone one-on-one with Sting, I believe Chris Jericho. Silvio, would you like to see if Sting can wrestle or in some form of capacity, maybe not a full, doesn't have to be one-on-one, but maybe a tag match, whatnot, could be Darby and Sting versus Jericho and Hager or somebody from the Inner Circle. Would that be something cool you'd like to see?
Jericho and Sammy, if it was an in-ring match.
Oh, there you go. Jericho,
the best place for that would be a cinematic match where Jericho can throw his creative genius. We can protect Sting, do some cool shit. That would be money. I'd rather see that than them in a 20-minute in-ring singles match at this juncture.
Would you be okay with the tag match? I mean, if it led to that, because I mean, you got to.
I'd rather have the cinematic.
Definitely tag. Sting doesn't have to take any heat. He just has to come back and fucks everybody up. Sting doesn't have to take one thing, just maybe one eye poke and sell away. That's all he would have to do, But I agree with Sil 100% on that.
There are some rumors going around about a Sting being heel, so you never know. Maybe
I guess we can talk about that here.
When we get to Stinger being heel on WWE, saying he's not happy about how his run went, and coming out and firing those shots, there's no real repercussions from them. But there was one we just were sharing in the chat that Snoop is now going to be on the show on New Year's Eve. And Snoop and Undertaker had done like a little video together, and they were doing some clothing line with Taker and Snoop together. And WWE, after they announced Snoop last night on AEW, pulled all the shit from WWE shop today. That's how fucking petty they are, bro. Even if there's rumors that AEW and WWE want to work together, then you do that kind of shit. And will they fuck with Sasha Banks because of it? If they're that petty, I wouldn't be surprised either, man. So D-O double Jizzy, that be me. No, I'm not European being I can.
I walked away from the Fed and I got my money, then a hoe.
Murder was the
case.
case.
Good for Snoop Dogg. Yeah, exactly. Murder was the case. Anyway, Snoop Dogg for sure. I give it up to Snoop Dogg. I mean, good for him. Like, he's making his money still at his age, and like, it's not his fault. Like, I mean, Should have Snoop Dogg probably called back WWE if he was doing some sort of merchandise line and said, hey, AEW is going to give me this much money to come in, maybe get into parlay an appearance in WWE. Might have been something he could have done, but who knows? He could have done that as well. His agent could have done that and was like, yo, I got you the most money from AEW, so let's do it. And there you go. I mean, I don't know. But Snoop's trying to make his money. He's not stupid. He don't care about wrestling politics. You know what I'm saying? So.
He's also not under contract, and he's a businessman, so he can do whatever he wants. And he's not on TV saying they suck.
He's a musician act. It's like playing at one show one night and going into the next venue the next night. Mm-hmm. To him, that's all he's thinking about.
He's up at Sunnyvale. He's fucking doing it real big, man. I mean, that's Snoop is bigger than wrestling,
right? That's so petty of WWE. Why are you going to take away the opportunity to continue to make money then off the name brand? Like, it's not like he has a shirt up there with like AEW, so leave it up and keep making money off it.
That age-old Snoop Undertaker fucking friendship that bond couldn't be broken. What the fuck, man?
Well, that's the only little story I had there. Let's get into AEW then as far as what happened here. So AEW tonight starts off with the tag match right away, as we've got the Young Bucks taking on TH2. I guess you might say stipulation in this match is if TH2 picked up the victory, they would then get an opportunity to face the Young Bucks. However, they fell to some super kicks and the BET trigger at the end. It was a very fast-paced match, moving back and forth between two tag matches, similar styles. Ultimately, as I mentioned there, the Young Bucks pick up the victory. So I don't know if this is going to come to a standstill between these two teams, as they've kind of been teasing back and forth on being the Elite and on Dynamite and Dark over the last couple months. If this is the end for TH2 now, maybe the Young Bucks move on to the Acclaimed or whoever the next tag team is. I feel bad for the TH2 because they really didn't get too much of an opportunity, I feel like, here to showcase themselves other than some, minuscule segments and some weird BTE segments. Silvio, what'd you think?
I don't think this is the end of TH2, just from some insight.
I didn't think they were at the end. I just meant like this push, if you will, as far as where they were.
I've heard of some things that are in the books for them. We'll see if it happens.
Interesting.
But as far as the match, they did a lot of cool shit, a lot of, tag combos, some very impressive, innovative, super athletic stuff. At some points, I guess this is a good thing for both of them. At some points, I thought the Hybrid 2 was about to win that match. There were several points. And I was thinking of that, okay, well, it would have done more good than harm in that case. Had TH2 won, the Young Bucks could have beat them later at the title for the championship match. No skin off their back. They're the Young Bucks. But we would have got the Hybrid 2 up a level higher. So they did a good job in convincing us that TH2 could win, which hasn't, been done for them on that big of a stage. There was just one point of the match where I thought they could have ended a bit earlier. They did a really fucking amazing looking high spot that I think, they could have just George Costanza style, end it high and get the hell out of there, right? They could have went home right after that, and then they did a few more minutes of stuff. And the stuff they did was good, but just for my personal taste, I think they could have wrapped it a few minutes early. But
Ben, from a writing standpoint, I guess you might say for those two, for TH2, with the conclusion and finish of this match, does it make more sense for TH2 to lose cleanly like they did here, or would it have made, I guess more storyline sense since they introduced the Acclaimed to have them some sort of interference since it was non-title and have TH2?
Yeah. That's pretty much what we've been conditioned to, right? So if it's non-title, then the challengers are going to beat the champs, and I'm glad they didn't, to break that, because that's playing into the conditioning and gives your audience the we're so used to that in WWE that friggin' we're not going to do it over here. So that was a good choice. What's not a good choice is putting this match on first. Everyone's doing everything. Everyone's going outside of the ring. Now there's nothing left for the rest of the show. You've seen it all. Seg 1. I liked this match, even though there was a lot of no sells and shit, but it reminded me of early 2CW Bucks. Like, I haven't seen those Bucks in a while, and I was happy for those dudes. I don't know either of those guys, Jack Evans and forgive me, the other fellow's name.
And Helico.
But dude, seriously talented when it comes to things. There's some things I'd like to see tightened up, and Helico and them can do so much. But like when they did the kick, and Helico takes the third one and he turns around just to be there. Like he's like, kick, turn. I know I have to stand here for it. There's things like that where I want the Rock and the Cell, like, you know, the fine points where I'm like, man, these guys are so athletic, but they miss all the trimmings to really make things believable of getting hit. They just ping pong around, getting into the position for the next. If they would just do a little acting in between there, man, those spots would mean so much more. But I did like this match for the spot fest that it was. And for TH2, like, I don't think them breaking up, this doesn't feel like an enemy. This felt like the most they've ever shined, to be honest with you, on
they
TV.
Stepped up, didn't they?
And yes, absolutely. And here's the thing. We just need to get back to wrestling of having matches that show guys getting over and beating dudes. Not everything has to be the fucking, you fucked my sister. You know what I mean? Like, and now I'm going to kick your ass. Like, it's wrestling match. We're the champs. You got a shot. We beat you clean because we're better than you. You fucking put up a good fight. Next match. It doesn't, we're on a wrestling show. Let's just get back to it. And that's what this felt like to me. So we didn't need a run-in from anybody else to do side business, which they're notoriously doing 4 and 5 times a show here. So a lot of things made me happy. It's just I wouldn't have put this match first because there's nothing left that the audience hasn't seen after the first 20 minutes. I know where you said they could have taken it home. You know what I'm stealing? I'm going to go back and watch it, and I forget what he even calls it. He does like leg lace, like he's going to fucking figure 4, but he's facing the other way. Does a spin over.
Looks great.
That's sexy heel shit right there. I'm taking that. And it'll look better when I do it because I'm bigger than him.
Ooh. That's what she said.
Wow.
AEW Dynamite continued on as we got a video promo after that with MJF shown with Wardlow. He says that he respects wrestling, unlike some guy who does slow motion kicks and fakes being a wrestler. Tonight he's going to crush Orange Cassidy and retain his Dynamite diamond ring. Very emotional MJF. A lot of passion in this promo here, this video package. Very quick. Well done. Got across the message. I liked it. What do you think, Twism?
Yeah, I thought MJF was great here, and I liked the match too. Some people were shitting on it. I loved all that old hand heat. There was a couple things that were no sold, the DDT and whatnot, and like kick out on 1.5. I'm like, oh Jesus. Yeah, dude, there was a lot of good stuff in that match. So the intensity and old school promo and breaking the fourth wall, MJF is just got it. He's got the it factor. He comes through the camera. And having the big man on backup is a good visual, dude. And I don't know, sometimes the matches don't live us. And it's not that match sucked, but that promo had me feeling some kind of way. And then you realize he's fighting the slacker. You know what I mean? So it felt almost too hot for the match itself. So he could have dialed it back and probably even gotten as much out of it, but he killed it.
He's a killer, man. MJF always rocks it in promos.
I bet that was one take too.
Yeah,
I'm sure. And I'll break it down when we get into the match itself because I had some high points on this match, but I agree with you. It was very good.
Before we're continuing on here, I just realized I didn't go over some of the Dynamite numbers here, so let me get that in really quick here. Last week's AEW Winter is Coming garnered 913,000 viewers compared to
close.
Compared to the 658,000 for the go-home show of WWE's NXT War Games. Last night's, of course, broadcast, as we mentioned, featuring Kenny Omega, garnered 221,000 views. The AEW ratings, so that was up from 710,000 to 913,000. So they did see a little bit of a spike there. Of course, Sting being on that show was probably ended up spiking the quarter hour. YouTube viewers for last week was up huge, actually, as total views 4,171,185.
Wow.
That's up from 1.9 million.
Mm-hmm.
The most viewed video with 2.4 million was Sting's debut. The least viewed video was Dr. Britt Baker, the badass of the AEW women's division. That only got 100,000 views. The average viewership across all their videos was 300,000. So a lot of uptick in numbers there. And of course, as we mentioned, 2.4 with Sting. So that was a big deal.
141 live last night at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman for Mr. Do Entertainment. Yeah, man. Great on those 4 VKM videos. Excited for, if you haven't checked them out, go to the website 4vkm.com and check out all those videos. And tomorrow the show will be up. Go ahead.
What did you think of him as far as him as the guest?
Wonderful. I thought he was wonderful. Highly intelligent, highly educated. Had the right answers for the CIA questions. And I think our government would be foolish. I think Vince McMahon would be foolish to not put that guy on the payroll. He's doing better stuff on his own, just as a freelance guy who's interested in video, who taught himself. And I'm going to hopefully tap into the resources when we need stuff too, man. I would love to have him on our team, and that'll get us closer to selling out to the CIA that much quicker. But he was great, and he brought people with him to come check him out. He has intrigue, and he's not just out there doing it to be in the spotlight. We're the first show to shine a spotlight on him, and he reached out to us. So he did the work and had the anonymity before it was like, oh, look at me and look what I do. That says something about a producer, in my opinion, man. So it was very cool, and he was very articulate, and I thought it was great. And then we also talked the new UFO disclosure from Israel security chief. So a great show. And when I was hosting, time goes by like that, it's a good show. You know what I mean?
Send me a link to that Israel thing, after the show.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I do have a bit of my own conspiracy theory. He said he's been listening. What do we got going on over there? Uh-oh. He's being attacked right now. Silvio's being attacked by the genocide.
What's up, bitches? It's Tony Khan. He's invading the show. I've been on the payroll the whole time, motherfuckers.
Well, he's going to have to buy airtime here, too.
What's going on with this bitch today? I've had enough.
Oh. You gotta widen it up.
Whoa!
Gangster Jenna Marbles.
I'm gangster in this house.
That's it.
Be gangster.
You better do the laundry. You're going to get son.
I know.
I did
Where's my food? I'm kidding.
Oh shit! How you doing?
Guys.
You doing good?
Oh yeah.
You getting ready for the big day?
Honey. What big day?
Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're headed to Texas tomorrow.
My bad.
We're here, of course. She's not sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always ready to whoop some ass.
I'm jealous. I haven't gotten my hands on somebody to beat the shit out of them and since March, and I'm hungry too. That's for sure.
Come play.
Come to Texas. Yeah, I don't know if they'll book me.
No, come to Florida. Come train with us. Come play.
Yeah, well, if I do that, I'm just going to end up chewing out Seidel for taking silly bumps on the goddamn outside of the ring. So then I'll have to take over and beat up everybody. And that sounds all right. Maybe I'll do that.
Maybe it's a good time for me to watch.
I do have an update about that because we talked about that bump with him. I'll give it to you later.
What bump did he take?
When Matt took a bump onto the ramp out of the Battle Royal.
I chewed him out. Yeah. I chewed him out in DMs about it. I chewed him out about it and gave him some love. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Oh man, what's going down this weekend? Again, let them know. Jenna.
Mission Pro tomorrow. It's going down. You can stream on Title Match Network. That's my next one.
$10 and you can watch this show and everything for the whole month. So it's a damn good deal.
That's Thunder Rosa's company, right? So there's going to be plenty. If you're a Thunder Rosa fan and what you've been seeing from her in NWA and AEW, it sounds like great value and just awesome to support. One of the princesses here at Hamin Media Group. Absolutely, you gotta when she's going big time. We're with you. So I know you're going to kick ass. Be safe and don't do any dumb shit on the outside.
She doesn't do
no, I don't. There's no padding or anything. It's just cement. So the first time I learned when I did a dive there, don't do it.
Don't do it again.
The thing I did not teach Jenna is how to do dumb shit. And anytime she asks to learn a flip, I say, go train with Seidel. I'm not going to teach you that.
Well,
only because you can tell him I had a major fail that was pretty rough.
She asked for months to try a moonsault, and I always declined. Finally, I let her do it, and she did it. She just cut it a little bit and skinned her little forehead on the mat.
I was like 100 pounds heavier when I did try that.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'll agent you right now. You're a powerlifting Muay Thai fighter. Don't do no fucking flips.
Oh, I can do it now.
But you don't have to. I can do it.
But I can. I go to the trampoline park and I'm a superstar.
The big fat Sheik don't do a moonsault. Neither does the powerlifting T800 model from hell. Okay, we kick the shit out of people. We beat them down. We look at the crowd and say, "I will do the same thing to you." Then you go back and kick the shit out of her some more. You don't need to fly.
Exactly. Did you see some clips of my latest GCW action? This
that one girl's ass is out. I'm trying to watch you beat girls up, and she's got her cakes out. I'm like, God damn, what am I supposed to be doing here?
They all had their cakes out.
I know, and I do have a little heat with the double standard of that, because I couldn't go out there with my nuts hanging out of my singlet and be like, hey, let's get her going here. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty much the equivalent.
I know. I was old enough probably to be her mom. I'm trying to cover her up while I whip that
makes it even hotter. Stop saying things.
What do you think?
So it makes it even hotter.
I'm like the soccer mom. Let's cover up. Let's just focus on being athletes. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was a good time. It was a last minute thing, so didn't know if you saw it.
I did.
Are you going to be putting your Christmas photos online, or is this just an exclusive for Mission Pro? Because I'm sure some of the listeners might want some of those.
Yeah, we might have some extra fun, non-genocide-esque. You just get this face right here in Christmas photos.
That's all you get. That's all you deserve.
We want one with the dog. That's what we want. We want dog family photos.
Don't worry. I'll be torturing Silvio with some Christmas photos with the dog in matching outfits soon enough.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, please shoot at Will. You have free will to shoot at him all day long. I
shoot on him all the time. Camera, clearly. Anyway, love you guys. Just drop it in to say hi.
Kick ass. We're proud of you. Have a great show tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, there was okay, never mind. I was just gonna say.
I got a comment for you.
Oh no, I was like just cruising like YouTube the other night, and it totally like recommended like a wrestling show. I forget what it was, but you were on it, and I was like, "Yay, Jenna!" So I just kicked ass. I don't know. I'm sorry. I was inebriated.
I'm hoping it wasn't an old clip because some of those are pretty rough.
It was like within the last 2 years. Like it was like something you were on TV. It was streamed. Like there wasn't a big
crowd. At least watchable.
Yeah, it was good. It's good. So you're awesome. I was like, yeah, I know her.
Some of the old ones, just keep it going.
Okay. Have a good day.
The lovely muscles with the best part of the light diffuser view, man, making us all a little bit more beautiful out here.
Oh, that's right. Well, coming up after that, ladies and gentlemen, was the best VTR package on the show because Darby Allin is fucking amazing. It was a Darby Allin VTR, and he's sitting. And I like this. I actually liked this more so. I thought this is one of Darby Allin's better promos as well because he actually got to talk a little bit, and you got to hear a little bit of his character. But it was one of those shrink style promos where he's sitting in front of maybe a psychologist or some sort of a health interpreter, whatever it is, holding up the pictures where Darby has to
Rorschach test.
There you go. I've never had to take one of those, so I'm sorry. Maybe you can explain it better than I can, Ben. Go ahead. I mean, if you want.
Oh, that's just ink blot pictures and what they inspire in you. And some of them were meant to look like random things. And the other one is Brian Cage with the arms up. So that made me laugh on that. But great to stay in the stylized, black and white and keep it in this, Twilight Zone-esque, I guess, jackass kind of way at the same time. There's a couple things I'd like to work with him on monologue-wise in his delivery, but this was entertaining as can be, and I like stylized stuff that helps support a character. So I thought it was a very simple and cool choice, and good job.
Remember I told you guys last week that Darby's the best-selling and probably the most sympathetic face in wrestling. He hit that mark on his promo where he was talking about Brian Cage. And he said maybe a line or two, but the gist of it was something like, I've dealt with that guy my whole life. And you could feel it coming out of him. You believed it, and you knew the motherfucker was
I want to start there. That's where I would, if we were shooting that, that's a beautiful thing you picked out, Sil. And that's your great director's eye, because as great as you are in ring and creatively, that is really what you see shine through is the moment. And that is where we need to take that, pull that out, and build something all new starting there. Everything in this scene led up to that moment. That was the aha moment right there. If we can start capturing that and fostering that, now we're going to go someplace.
It was beautifully done.
Yeah.
And when he says that, one second, Matt, when he says that, you're immediately as the viewer drawn in. So if you didn't like Darby before, it's very hard to continue not liking him after you get that.
Big Ray.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead,
Matt. Well, I was going to say this bleeds into the next segment here with Sting, but do you think that potentially, or I mean, I think it would be interesting if there's speculation that Sting's going to be the quote unquote heel. He takes Darby under his wing, but he's the puppet master. He manipulates him. And then eventually we're going to see, the young Jedi take on the Sith Overlord.
That'd be cool. I mean, when they showed the Sting card at the end of Darby's promo, Jen and I had the same thought. What was the first thought that came to mind? Like if you were going to respond as Darby, like they showed him this one, then the final one was clearly a silhouette of Sting's paint. What came to your mind?
Something dad, like right? Dad, right? Yeah, absolutely. For right there, especially if you're talking the id of what it is, you know what I mean? You just be like, I never knew my dad. Cut. Like that was it. So
I'm just saying it's there. And I'm sure more people than us picked up on it.
I know, but here we are missing it. You know what I mean?
We don't know that.
Well, you have the chance. You can't go back and get those. These are pre-tapes. Do it. Make the choice. You have it in the can. You don't have to put it out there. But let's see what it feels like. And I think we're not even getting those done from what I've heard.
Well, after that, then this leads into the next segment. Cody comes out to the ring. He's joined by Tony Schiavone. Schiavone asks him about his reaction to Sting's return last week. Before he can answer, lights go out. Sting comes out, gets in the ring. Arn Anderson gets in his face with the mic, and Arn says he had to get closer to make sure that this was real, and that he says he's going to see his way out of here so him and Cody can speak. So Tony Schiavone then gets ready to exit the ring, but Sting calls him back and says, "You can't leave. Give me a hug. Say my catchphrase." He's like, you have no idea how many times. This was a little hokey, but you have no many times over the last couple of years, people have came up to me and been like, "I loved what Tony Schiavone said in Sting." Cool. Might not be something you say on AEW Dynamite, though. First words that you're saying to the crowd. That being said, after that, Tony Schiavone exits the ring. Cody starts to speak and say, welcome back. Thanks him for the assist last week and says he just wants to get to the point. He's been waiting a long time to share the ring with Sting. But before he can continue on, Sting says that he's not here for Cody, at least not right now, but he says that there is something very, very familiar with this place. He looks up in the rafters. The camera points over to Darby sitting there with the TNT championship. Sting says that he's in the jungle. He has come full circle. He's back on TNT. Sting says that he knows that Cody and everyone knows that he's going to, he knows that Cody knows everyone and knows everything that goes on around here. But the only thing that's for sure that is he is in AEW, signed a long-term contract, and he plans on being there for a long time. And then I like this end segment. He put his arm around Cody and says, "See you around, kid." And then he exited the ring to dismayed Cody, which I think we're starting to see even more of this descent of Cody's Rhodes heel madness. Each week after week, I get a little bit more and more reason to hate Cody. And even here, just his little smugness here of trying to be the guy and the center of attention. As Michael Jargo would say, to the character, not the person. Fuck you, Cody. Silvio, what did you think of this promo? To the character, not the person.
I'm going to make a brief comment, but I want Hamin to go on this one first because I remember some of his words before about this upcoming Sting promo. Hamin, do you think we could get away with the Leahy-Ricky angle, like where Sting becomes Darby's dad, but then we throw a monkey wrench into it where it turns out a blood test was fucked up and Jericho's the dad. So now he has to bond with Jericho only to find out that Jericho wasn't the dad after all. And then you can get El Sexico to be the angry brother who doesn't want to accept him, and we can do a Storm Shadow
gimmick with it with snake eyes. I like that. Yeah, that absolutely we can do that. Yeah, we can get that over. Stinger talking week 1. Wrong.
I don't know. I'm assuming that was a Trailer Park Boys reference you guys were just talking about.
Yeah,
okay, well, I need to get a reference in here for some. It would be cool if somehow you found out that Sting made Darby Allin eat his own parents. Okay, South Park, go ahead. Anyway.
That'd be fine. They might do that for fun.
Scott Tenorman.
Sting talking is a mistake. Sting doing this is awesome is a mistake. Sting and Shivani doing the it's Sting and putting that over because that makes Tony Khan mark out is a mistake. All of this killed what Sting has, and Sting has, and more than anybody else, is mystique. And the second Sting speaks, the mystique is gone. Can Sting be cool and make things fun? Absolutely. Yeah, like he knows how to turn the energy up. And even, come on, kid, even if it's like that type of stuff, now he's half comedy to me. You know what I mean? Already. Okay, so I don't really care about him and Darby already. All I could think of is I want that somebody to do a reface app and put the fucking Cody's face on that little kid that Sting fucks up in the commercial back in 91 and have that be Cody getting beat all over the place. And that's the inception for Cody versus Sting now.
If I downloaded these apps, I totally would. I want to download these apps.
That's all I really wanted after this. And I cut my little half shoot on Stinger last week. The guy's not sweating Ben Hamin for a second, but not my cup of tea. No mythic gimmick ever is. And it definitely, and I like this more because we didn't do mythic because we blew mythic out our ass week 1. He's talking. So I'm more down with Sting talking than I am like pointing a bat, being scary. Oh, a crow of fire lights up and all that shit. That's not my bag of tricks. But, I think exactly with the tag matches, what you outlined earlier is what we're going to get. That's the smart business to get the shine from him. He looks phenomenal. Jericho at his age and still working, but I don't give a shit if Sting's on B12 or whatever. In the gym, he's cardioed out. He looks as good as he ever did, where all the other legends look like old men. Sting's just got a little bit of thinning hair, and you put the makeup on, and it might as well be 1998 again. You know what I mean? So the energy was there. You were watching it. I was entertained. But at the same time, I'm going, we just shotgun 6 months. So there's both sides of the coin as always.
I remembered your comments. So as it was airing, I was trying not to let Hamin permeate my brain. But I could hear your little fucking stupid voice back there talking about so as he's talking, I'm like, is this a mistake? Because we're getting this lighthearted, fun Sting. I was questioning myself. Well, is this a mistake? Should he not be doing this? As it rolled on, it got entertaining, so it kept me. The main things that really stood out were the thing to Darby and then the see you later, kid thing with Cody. So it had its high points. What I'm taking away from this is because he said that line that he always says, but the only thing certain about Sting is nothing's for sure or something like that. I think that's what they're going to do with Sting. I think his story is going to be a path of is he or is he not going to do this? So I think from week to week, even, we might not understand his motivations, if he's on the good side, the bad side. I think that will hopefully keep the intrigue that the mystique kept in the 90s. So
I was just going to say, so is this going to be Sting, WCW circa 99?
It is. It's Sting who's already got no mystique and he's out and can do what he wants to as a babyface. And that's not a bad choice. That's just a choice. Buckshot Kid, who would be the green bastard? I would go with Shivani. I'd put Shivani out as the green bastard. I think he could get it over. And they wouldn't have to sell for nobody. So
great choice. Marco Stunt could be Trevor.
I actually have, he very well could be. So good the best friends if they wanted to be. But I was thinking Marco Stunt. I don't know if you saw what they did with Elias, where now he had that match with Jeff Hardy where Jeff almost was paralyzed from the stupidest table placement I've ever seen. But but then Elias gets the electrocution from the gimmick, speaker, whatever. Now he's saying that he's going to come back as not excellent Elias, what is he? But whatever. He no longer knows how to play guitar, but the doctors fixed the nerve damage in his hands so he can use his hands, but he doesn't know how to play guitar anymore. That's what they're going with. And he's going to be a new age thinker. But I was thinking to myself, whatever, if we're going to fire shots at WWE and rib them in an ECW kind of way, which AEW should be doing much, much more, Marco Stunt should do whatever Elias does the week after. When they do it the wrong way with Elias, Marco Stunt should rib it and become like little Elias on that show.
They ended the Elias character?
And it's going to be like a new age guru hippie thing coming.
They got rid of him playing guitar.
No, the guy can legit play guitar. He's Eddie Vedder, and you didn't do shit with him, and now he's going to become like a new age fucking thinker hippie type thing.
Buddy, I like to think of
money on the table. So much money on the table.
I like to think of myself as a positive guy, but Maddie, they ended Elias 2 years ago.
I know, but still, like you just look at it, and I haven't really watched WWE in 2 years. That's probably why, though, too. So
Silvio and Elias would be awesome together. Even Sil is just the manager, fucking dude, the rock and roll guy, and fucking tuning up guitars and things along those lines, and doing the intro for him and making him look like a star, so he doesn't have to come out and do shit for himself. And who wants to walk like that? Should all be a tune-up guy stuff. A rock star doesn't come out there and hype the crowd like that. And Sil is as cool, sexy, cool, and a smaller version of Elias. Long hair, dirty goatees, rock and roll, and the fucking natural swag that the Doors have. Not a lot of guys have that in this world, let alone in wrestling. So I think 100% they never did Elias the right way. And Silvio's the exact guy who could have fucking made that rock and roll thing come to life. Because it's always better to have two farmers on one side of the fence in a scene than it is to have opposite characters trying to work against each other.
Elias's gimmick was pretty much my real life. So
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, after this, we get a package from Taz with Team Taz. Team Taz says that last week Taz was beating the ass out of Kobe and Darby, but Tony Khan had to send in Sting to save his two golden boys. But now Taz's son Hook is no longer training with the Nightmare family. He's back home, Team Taz camp. Taz says he's still coming for him. I like this. It was fast, and I like seeing the visual of the Team Taz. It's getting bigger. I like it. What do you think?
Speaking of paternity test, you might want to give Hook one. That kid's white and a motherfucker, man. He was 4 inches taller than Taz and 3 shades lighter. I was like, okay, maybe it's a stepson. I don't know, but can he do a 5-star frog splash? Somebody better check.
I mean, did you get it right away? Jenna goes, "Who's that guy on the left?" Like,
I knew it was this kid.
I did not. I've never seen him, but I got it right away.
Yeah, right away. They referenced it last week, and now he's going to keep his kid close and whatnot and get him over, so then we can put him with Billy Gunn's kid, and he can go and become whatever. But yeah, that's what we do. That's the second generation of wrestling. I'm almost thinking of having my dad get a tryout to go and try and be a WWE star, so I can get signed. I'm going to do it the opposite way and become a second generation wrestler that way.
Yeah. And I was going to double down and just sign away my sperm and be like, there you go. And I'll get in right away that way.
Your sperm is signed already.
Oh, crap.
So yeah, man, I thought the visual and all that backstage was good. And it didn't seem too wrestling, even though we're in the wrestling line. The guys just stood there and were back up while he talked. Because a lot of times in indie promos, it'd be like, and he talks about Ricky Starks, the other guys slap him on the back. Yeah, this brother right here. Like, that at least seemed a little bit more real.
No, to that point, I don't know if you guys saw last week when they did off the air footage with Eddie Kingston brawling back and forth with Lance Archer.
I read about it, but I didn't see it.
Really good because like it was off air, so they're just like dropping F-bombs. You're a punk ass bitch. He dropped a really good line on Phoenix. He said, "Why don't you go fucking jump off something again? Why don't you fucking try and tell a fucking story?" It was great. Like he was just coming down on, and then like at the end, he told. Or Lance Archer told him, he's like, "I'll fucking kick your punk ass bitch." Like everyone was just dropping F-bombs, bitches. And I was telling Alice, I was like, I love when somebody comes out and goes, "I'm going to fuck you up," because that's realistic. No one comes out and goes, "This Sunday, I can't wait to get in the ring with you. We can put our physical limits to the test and we can take each other on."
Yeah, just get it through the ropes. Go, "Come on, you dumb motherfucking cocksucker. Let's go. You think you're so fucking tough?"
Yeah.
Like, and let's get it in the streets. I like that too. I haven't seen that. And I'm down with full swearing wrestling. Let's get back to being men and fuck this stupid little language, bro, and hurting people's feelings. Let's talk tough as shit and then back it up with some shit.
Yeah, that gets me pumped up when I hear that. So that's engaging to me.
Because you're also going to get it. If I call you a bitch ass motherfucker to your face, you're going to have a real reaction to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not "You coward. The locusts of pain are coming to destroy your crops, and they're named me." Oh, okay. Whatever the fuck, right? Like whatever Vince is writing.
Oh, what are you? I mean, chicken. Chicken.
Don't you chant USA at me.
Chicken is my least favorite.
Yeah.
And I've had to perform it a few times in wrestling because whoever I was working with wanted to do it. Drives me nuts. That and "kick your butt" are my two biggest pet peeves. And Saturday, "I'm going to kick your butt, man." What are we, 5?
No, I agree. Well, after that, we had.
I'd love to cut your head off and rape your corpse in the desert. Like, that's way more high stakes and real for Ben Hamin.
I would love to hear that.
You know, on TV.
Maybe not American TV, but we could get away with it internationally for sure. Sure. Well, after that, we had FTR making their way back here onto AEW Dynamite, take on the Varsity Blondes. Those who are unaware, the Varsity Blondes, they are now a brand new tag team formed, if you are. Their official team name, that is, for Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison. I think that's the other guy's name, right? Mm-hmm. And it was a quick, it was a 2-segment match. I had some thoughts here. I'm not saying the match was bad, but did you think maybe this match was a dark match that was put on Dynamite? That's kind of how no, Silvio?
I thought this was the best match on the show. I don't know. It was simple, basic OVW wrestling with 2 green guys and 2 guys who've been on the road who are pretty damn good technically. And you got Brian Pillman's son. You're putting it over lightly, but he's not having to fucking sell it the whole time. And the other kid, and they were there on everything. One bad clothesline bump where Pillman lands on the back of his neck, but that is what a real fight looks like instead of some clean shit. And I think he's fine because he got up and they went into it. He didn't look like he got his bell rung. He's a young man, so he's got a couple more punches than the rest of us do on his bump card. But he also has been at OVW. And guess who Flying Brian learned from, aside from of being at the dungeon? Hustler Rip Rogers when they were on the road in the Maritimes. And that's why his son has been down there getting the polish put on him the last couple of years. And it shows. And I think that kid has unlimited potential. I like the way he looks. And I like the way he worked. And I like this whole match, to be honest with you, from FTR. And it took a team that's a new team that doesn't have a lot of shit to get in to slow down the guys who get their shit in all the time and give me a quality wrestling match. And that's what I got in this one, man. I like this match.
Silvio?
I was very pleased watching this for Brian. Brian's only 3 years in the business, and I used to speak to him fairly often. I haven't spoke to him really since the pandemic stuff, but he always is hungry to learn, which I appreciate. And he never wanted to be the guy that skated on his name. He wanted to legit learn the job. And when I was watching last night, Brian had pro bumps. He moved like a pro. He bumped like a pro. His timing was that of a pro, and his offense he executed well. He even reminded me of his dad in the Flying Brian days, just with some of the mannerisms and how he eerily does his crossbody almost the exact same way, and the drop kick almost the exact same way. So it was nice to see. I'm happy for him in that regard.
And he sells to the corner how we do, off of something, not just walk to the corner or walk to the middle of the ropes to get ready for the next thing. He's on the sell. And this is where you can see the difference between OVW, Rip Rogers trained people and people who aren't. And no shot Dista and Helico and Jack Evans, but that's what I'm talking about when it's ping pong, turn around, kick me in the face, I bump. Like, no, it's hit me. Oh my God, I got to get out of here before I get hit again. Let me go. Follow me, come get me, then hit me again. And then I go, like, stretching things way out and getting full value out of things. He was doing that at 3 years in. Pretty goddamn impressive.
And Brian has this natural charisma, and he has a little bit of that craziness that his dad had. So while he's doing this traditional babyface role, if he can start bringing who he is inside out, I think it'll work. The other kid did really good too, man. Yeah. He's inexperienced. I think he's 21 or 22 years old. His offense looked tight. His timing was good. He looked confident. In a few years, as his body fills out and he gets more reps, he could be something. So
thumbs up from on. I'm still kind of unsure on this. I like it, and I don't know if it's the best move or not, but they did it. Varsity Blondes, the Varsity Club and the Hollywood Blondes, another early WCW reference mashed up. But your audience will get it to some degree, but does that hurt them at all?
JR put it over because he was like Brian Pillman's like his dad, he was tagged.
But now you're doing straight living off legacy as opposed to building your own thing. You know what I'm saying? That's a choice, and I'm not saying it's wrong, and maybe that's the one to shine them out. I was just curious what you guys thought, because I first I didn't like it, and then I was like, I like it. It works. We can go with it.
It's very hard being a white meat babyface team. For those that don't know what that means, like the traditional do-gooder 80s style babyface, it's hard to be that right now in modern television wrestling. So I think that's going to be way more of a battle that they're going to have to overcome through their personality and their fight than the name itself. I'm indifferent about the name.
You know what tag team I will put over that's on the indie scene that kind of has that, though? I don't know if you've heard of them. They're called 4 Minutes of Heat. They're based out of here in the Northwest. Check them out. They're doing that whole blonde mullet tag team thing. They've been out in the Northwest for about 3 or 4 years. They're pretty good.
I could see Harry Smith come in and kick the shit out of his partner and turn them heel together.
Yeah, definitely.
That
sounds like a 5-minute Ben Hamin match to me. 4 minutes of heat.
That's 2 minutes is my entrance. I'm getting over it, so I only got to work real quick. Meat chop, Haku, Piper, Kane, sell away, duck one big boot, come back, up and over on my back, get me in the choke, I'll fucking slam you, kick you in the back one time, Mr. Perfect front flip, fucking come back off, mob kick, turn you over, camel clutch. That's all she wrote.
Yeah, actually, they over the summer during the COVID to launch their.
You weren't ready for that one, were you, Sil? You could see his big ass doing all that shit. I do all that shit now too. I couldn't do it on you because I'd have to fuck with your neck too much.
Yeah, no bumps.
Nope. Well, we've got coming up after that. We had this was a little confusing just because they hadn't really set any breadcrumbs or set the foundation of the story in place. It was Dustin taking on 10. It was the match that started, and then after the match, we've got the Dark Order. Now, apparently, they want to make Dustin number 10. So.
7 that plays off of when he was in Impact.
Oh, right. That's right. You want them to make him 7.
It was WCW is 7.
Oh yeah, what was he in? What was he in Impact?
It was Black Rain. Black Rain. But I'm sorry, I apologize. But with the Dark Order, what I was going to say is when I look at the comparisons of right now of them, they're quote unquote recruiting, right? With Hangman, I felt like they've been building it up over the last month, whether it's been on TV and on Dynamite. So I like that. Even so much this last week on BTE, Adam Silver and Gray got him to agree to pick them as the Hangman's tag team partner. So I was like, okay, cool. That was a nice little thing to set up for them for next week because he needs a tag team partner, doesn't have any friends. This was just random. I mean, and I get what I like the promo after the match. I like him saying, you don't have anybody. You're basically the third lowest roads on the totem pole here. All of it made sense. It's just very weird, random, and kind of out of left field. I don't know. What do you think? Either of you. I don't know who wants to start.
I mean, the whole thing is the Nightmare family, right? So why would we be trying to pull him out of that if we've already tied him and Cody and we know they're brothers and there's that type of shit? They can try and recruit him for business. I get it. But it's just this Dark Order thing is kind of got to go away. Like, I'm glad for Player Uno and Player Dos, and Player Dos is getting in better shape. Even on the suit, you could see he's lost some weight and he's working hard to do that. And Player Uno without the mask on is looks good too. That dude 10 is good too. But then Silver and that other guy in the scene with Hangman are total comedy gimmicks now. So whatever Dark Order scary shit we had is blown out the window because we can't be doing both with cowboy hats and waka waka and then crazy occultism, Hail Hydra type shit. You can't do both. And where's Colt Cabana? Where is Lou Gallo or
Lee?
Brody Lee in this? Like, whatever, same guy. Anymore. Everything is a clusterfuck, and it really isn't gonna get anybody over. If we're gonna do Mythic, we gotta do Mythic. You can't do comedy, Mythic, Dark. It just isn't working to try and get all those in there. I did pop and I felt terrible on the way out, and I hope John Silver got punched in the face afterwards because he was backing up Player Dos and he was pushing him back, and then he kept feeling his man titty while he was going up the ramp that way as to rib him while he was pushing him back there. And if you have man titties, that's one of the most disgraceful things that someone can do to you. So I hope Player Dos punched him in the face when he got to the back.
He probably reprimanded him.
It was just trying to rib on camera as they went away.
I was gonna say before you get in, so I was gonna say I do agree that they, as far as the direction of the Dark Order, there's different storylines going on, two parallel storylines. Where on Dynamite they're trying to make them look like a fierce group that's a cult, and then I turn on BTE and you've got Adam Silver touching guys and then them doing shots and having parties, and it definitely is a little confusing.
Remember what we talked about earlier with Khan going into business for himself. This Silver kid has done that on all of the being the elites, and
we got over that. I mean, to his credit, he's the star of the fucking show now for sure.
I agree, but isn't that a problem?
I think they're telling him they're encouraging this.
I think the being the elite stuff, they're just back there shooting when they're bored and throwing shit against the wall and what sticks. And he got in the highlight reel. And now that has ruined the credibility of the darkness of this because of what they wanted to do, where he's good at comedy. I'm not saying he sucks and he's not funny and he doesn't have charisma, but every actor.
Somebody could have stepped in and said, dude, you can't be doing this.
That whole crew, I bet fucking hates him right now for going into business for himself and getting himself over instead of serving the whole storyline and getting things out. He sticks out now. He's a character unto himself, bigger than being in the Dark Order, and that's a problem. That is a real problem in your locker room.
You don't think that the Dark Order feels as a group collectively they're over on being the elite, so they're all shining?
No. Not right now. I bet in a group that always breeds it that way, dude. That's just the nature of the biz, dude.
Right. Silvio, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I like the fact that this match did a comeback right into the finish, which I haven't seen in God knows how long. And I like that sometimes. If I book a show, one of my matches is going to have comeback right into the finish because no one expects it. Now for the Dark Order stuff, in my opinion, I think what the Dark Order needs right now is somebody to step up and be the interim front man to take the shit seriously. Cabana could be a perfect way to do it. Like, hey, look, I fuck around. I joke more than the next guy, but we got to get our shit in line. We got you guys wearing cowboy hats. We got this. Anna Jay, you lost your big match. Let's get our shit together. We're the Dark Order. Remember that. It could be anyone stepping up, but somebody's got to do it with some confidence and authority until we get Brody back and see where they go with it. I don't know.
Do we ever even get the real inception of Colt into the Dark Order? The big, the satanic fucking, they're standing in a pentagon and fucking Fizzuk, Rizzuso, and they got to fucking do all that shit. You know what I mean? And the chanting, like, do we ever get any of that stuff, even in Being the Elite? Did I miss? Not that I watched it.
Let me ask you this, since we're talking, you just brought up Brody Lee there, Silvio, and you talk about the Dark Order being hot. If I'm putting on my conspiracy hat, let's connect dots. Is Brody Lee not on TV right now because he was tired of the Dark Order cult bullshit, as he's trying to be a serious guy, and you've got the other guy going into business for himself, trying to be the star?
From what I've heard, I don't know if this is news to people, Brody has possibly been struggling with some physical health issues. That would explain his absence. That would make sense to me, but sometimes the most logical thing may not be the reality. So I don't know, but that's what I've heard, is that he may be struggling with something health related. I don't know what, but that would explain a lot of things.
But it does, what it doesn't explain is doing comedy out of nowhere and not protecting the group. And that's an issue, man.
He was there. He wasn't injured. I mean, whether he wasn't physical or not, they should have nipped that in the butt right away if they wanted to be taken seriously.
That's why they need that interim leader until they figure whatever they're doing out.
Or you just got to jump him out of the gang for going into business for himself. Let the Dark Order beat the shit out of John Silver. He'll be more of a babyface that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That there's no problem with doing that. I'm not saying you got to absolve it and this sucks and da. Still, your solution was great right there with Colt to getting them in line. But to do that, for them to prove that and get in line, this guy's got to go. And if you're talking about the Church of Scientology, when somebody leaves the Church of Scientology, what do?
They get packed up, they get tracked.
Scatter, lock you away. They fucking have people outside your house in cars. Let's see that. Let's see Dark Order outside of Silver's house, and he's looking out the window he's shaking and calling. Like, that's the comedy that he's going to be good at. So the part of the story is the Dark Order story, same as it would be as leaving the Sea Org in Scientology. Let's show it.
Do you maybe also feel, I mean, as Silvio pointed out, he's being told to do this as well, right? The BT.
I don't think
Young Bucks are telling him be entertaining.
That's what I was going to say, because if you watch Being the Elite, it kind of feels, and now just from learning from you guys over the years now, kind of feels like John Silver was the shiny new toy, got popular on BTE, and now he's become the face of the BTE program, and they made him the quote unquote Being the Elite champion, where they have a title on him, and every week they're doing these different types of style of gimmicks. Who throws the mustard into the water? Next week we're going to throw this up against the wall. We're going to play putt-putt golf. So they've made him like almost the star of this show. I mean, so good for him again, but to the detriment of the Dark Order because of that, because the Young Bucks are telling him to do that. That sounds like there's a little bit of that disconnection of communication there backstage.
Let me tell you about wrestling too, not the fact that they're just fucking might be boys and having a good time with each other. Let's say this is all hypothetical completely. Let's say in a wrestling locker room there was a team called the Bucks and fucking Player Uno and Dos, right? Smash Brothers, and they had heat with each other, which they don't. They care for each other a fair amount, work together greatly. But if something happened and the Bucks wanted to sabotage their business, that's how you do it, is buddy up to the other guy, put a shine on him, knowing that's going to fuck everybody else over. And then the heat's going to be not on the Bucks. It's going to be on Silver to fuck those guys over. I know it sounds shady and crazy, but
I'm getting close to that. That's what I'm building up to that thought process. I'm getting close to finding those things.
That they're marks for John Silver. They love him and they want to shine his comedy and get him over. That's more of how the Bucks operate, but I'm letting you know there's a whole other side of this fucking game too, and that's how that chess move is played, where you move your knight over here to fucking get them to move a certain other way and attack something else completely, So
I just got goosebumps learning that. I'm telling you, it was great.
I got one final thought on this. You have to remember too, they did the cowboy hats last night. Silver and Reynolds didn't write that. They may have come up with the idea and pitched it to somebody, but somebody greenlit it, somebody put it on the program, and multiple people knew about it. So they're, whether Silver decided how he was going to act and then people liked it, they're writing for him to do that gimmick. I think an even maybe better addition than even Colt, Archer's a babyface now. If you throw Jake in there, Jake fucks over Archer, and now Jake's the guy that fits right in his wheelhouse. So that's another way we can roll with it too.
I like that choice too, Sil.
After that, we then get Shaq, an interview segment with Shaquille O'Neal. Hey, Kobe, tell me how my ass tastes. And he's back there with Brandy and Tony Schiavone, like curating this interview. So Shaq says, "I've known Jade for a long time. I love her. I'm not a big fan though of what Jade did to you, Brandy." And Brandy agrees, says that she's not a fan of it either, but also says that it won't happen again. That if Jade comes at her again, that she's going to kick her ass. But of course, he wants to settle everything professionally. Shaq gets excited, says he'd love to see that. Of course, while Brandy is out, she should watch Jade on TV and pick up a few pointers. Brandy gets offended. Oh my God, are you totally going to disrespect me again? Am I going to be disrespected again? And then she picked up a glass of water or whatever it was and threw it on Shaq's face. And we got a brand new Shaquille O'Neal meme. So that was great. That came out of this segment. What do you think, Silvio?
I like the water. That tied it all together for me.
Yeah.
Because I thought they tricked me. I thought they were going to end when Brandy got up to leave the room. And it was just a nice moment between everybody being friendly. I was like, oh, that kind of didn't really give us anything different. But then Brandy threw the drink at Shaq, and Shaq did a great facial. So now we're building whatever's going to happen with that group. So I was all right with it.
Yeah. I mean, who's the heel here? She walks in with her after getting her arm stomped, and she's got the sling on. And then Shivani puts over Shaquille O'Neal, TNT halftime show host, owner, Papa John's CEO, and also 5-time NBA champion, and Brandy Rhodes, the chief marketing officer or branding officer of AEW. And she goes, "You're going to butter his toast like that? And that's all you're going to say about me, the chief branding officer?" So now she's ghetto EVP marketing officer. What are we doing here in the reboot again? You're a highly intelligent, sexy woman with a master's degree in a marketing position. She going to come in. She's the ambassador to bring in these stars. What should she be doing? She should be walking Shaq around, showing him everything, not being the character in here to have the heat and be like, "Oh no, he didn't say that to me, Shaq." And here's the other thing. It's motherfucking Shaq. The guy's a 10 millionaire 10 times over. Who the fuck is Brandy Rhodes? If she didn't marry Cody, who would she be? Nobody. You had never heard of her in your life. So, for her to come in and then question Shaq, and then Shaq's got to do the apology until Shaq heels on her again at the end, and then she overheels and throws water in Shaq's face. Now I want to see Brandy get fucked up again.
Which is confusing, because we'll see what happens here in a moment with the next segment.
Absolutely wrong and brutal, and nobody there to say, "Hold on, kids." This is Shaquille O'Neal. This is your crossover audience. This is the guy who's going to bring over NBA players. And is Charles Barkley going to be there to laugh at him? That's the whole thing of his tag team that way. Those guys have magic on the mic together. And this also makes me believe that Eric Bischoff is, again, working directly with TNT to get Snoop Dogg, to get these stars on the show and show people what it should be. I mean,
Ninja run, motherfucker, run.
Is it right? So,
come on, that was great. Look at
it. It was great, but at the same time, Shaq was the heel with Jade, who gets heat on Brandy. He apologizes to her as this ghetto bitchy CEO character, which is completely no. And then as she leaves, she's going to get the heat on the guy who's a fucking world star known all over the place. So she's the asshole. So now it's up to Jade to fuck her up and us to cheer. Nobody knew who they were in this scene, heat-wise at all. And a lot of these things, I feel Shivani is just sitting there going, "I'm going to do what I'm told." Whether it's Tony Khan on Impact and he's just sitting there during the cringy promo looking at him, or this type of shit where there's no defined, where the baby and the heel switch back and forth 2 times in the scene.
I've had just about enough of you besmirching Brandy's good name like that. You know what I hope happens for Christmas? I hope she leaves you a long voice message on your Instagram that will put that British man to shame. And she does that promo she did on Jade on your ass. Merry Christmas.
That would be interesting. I'd be happy to give her one back, or I'd pass her on to my life coach if she really needs some. I'm sure he could straighten her segments out like he did mine as well. Yeah. What's that?
No, I don't want to forget it. I don't know if.
You don't want to forget it at all, so don't forget it.
Y'all are you bitch. Y'all are you pussy. Y'all are you culture vulture. Y'all are you fat crap. You thought I was done. Now I'm back.
We haven't heard from him in a while, but I did sell a shitload of Culture Vulture shirts, so that's over.
That's good. I don't know if I wrote it down or where it came in the show, but we might as well talk about it. Because
we're getting a live incoming right now from Ted McNailer. Rip Rogers calls out Tony Khan on the next episode of Fucking Rotten Podcast. Nice. Well, it was nice almost getting the job while it lasted with you, Sil.
Silvio, do we need to start our own podcast? Hire us. Quickly. Well, I was going to talk about the next segment. We might as well just talk about the next iteration of this, as you mentioned, because we go next scene, or I don't know if it was exactly next, but Jade Cargill and Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rose that attack Velvet, or Velvet Cake, or Red Velvet, I'm sorry. And, it was confusing, as you mentioned. There was now another heel scene. It was just interesting. But I would love to go on Master Shoot Theater, by the way, to do the Shaq voice. Thank you, Buckshot Kid. Okay,
actually, my Shaq is way better than yours, but you beat me to the point, so I didn't come over the top. I used to do it all the time. I'll do it. I did it on Friday Locker Room. You guys give yourself, who is the better Shaq, me or MSG?
Oh, no problem. Well, that's your fucking network. I was just going to say it's you.
I'd say we get Shaq versus Kenny Omega in a Shaq Fu match of some kind.
No, Shaq Fu. I think we need the return of Shaq Fu.
That's a horrible game.
Twism. What's that?
Something I would like to do. I mean, I'd like to be the moderator in negotiating a peace talk between yourself and the British man. Maybe around the holidays. Listeners, let us know what you think of that idea. And if you'd like to tune in to see that, either on Patreon or here on Light the Fuse, I'm down.
You wanna be the moderator between Tyler Davis and I to do what? What do I have to do? What did I do? I've never done anything. All I've sent him is pictures of pizza and donuts. I've never said a word to him.
Well, maybe we'll switch it. You send him like pictures of like a horse, or like says "Have a great day." You're special.
I think pizza and donuts are good. I think that he would want that. Somebody sent you a picture of a donut, you're going to be like, "What the fuck is this?" Like if he wants me to send him, pictures of Braun and posing down or whatever, I'm happy to do that. But
maybe he does, and that's our problem. Maybe you guys just don't understand one another. Yeah. So
maybe he wants inspirational quotes like from Gandhi.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I remember my favorite Gandhi quote was
first of all, I'm messaging you as I'm concerned for your health. I am your father figure, Ben. I am your father figure. You are my pick-me. You are my spunk. You are my sperm. That's what you are. And I feel that I need to check up on you after a while.
See, he loves you.
I just want to let you know you're an embarrassment. You're fat. You're overweight. And as your father figure, it's really concerning me. What about diabetes? What about all that crap, Ben? I'm messaging you for you to remain on your purpose, remain on your diet, keep lifting weights, keep going in, don't be eating pieces, don't be eating chocolate, and stay positive, you fat crap. Fuck you.
Super easy.
There's some sound advice in there. It's like a constructive criticism sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, you fact.
A lot of criticism, not a lot of constructive.
See, I have a trained ear.
Go ahead.
I have a trained ear for this kind of thing, and there was a lot of love in that.
I can pick through it as well. I've been called, Pops, you big fat fucking cocksucker. Get out there, go fucking puke if you gotta get your big fat ass back in there. This ain't the first time I've heard this. 12 years old. You weigh fucking 132 pounds. You got to make 130 so you can fucking make sure you can start on Sunday. We need you on the front line. Get out there, put these fucking 3 garbage bags on, put on a hoodie, then put your shoulder pads on, put another shoulder pad on, 90 degrees in the middle of August. Get out there and run, 12-year-old. Oh, okay. Thanks. See you guys in about an hour.
That's why I did theater. Anyway.
Me too. That's why I quit all that shit.
Exactly. Yeah, after 5th or 6th grade, I was like, no, I'm not doing this no more. That being said, after that, we move on to the in-ring promo. Will the Inner Circle survive? So the Inner Circle comes out. Jericho says this could be the last time you see the Inner Circle. He says they aren't on the same page, and it's not what he intended. MJF grabs the mic and says that he loves everyone in the group. He says he chose to be a part of the group because they're the best faction in professional wrestling. He says that he loves Sammy. Sammy tells him to shut his mouth. Says that, of course, he's lying. Those two started yelling back and forth. You were going to throw the towel in. I wasn't going to throw the towel in. Jericho was like, look, we talked about this before we went out here. You were clearly going to throw the towel in. And MJF said, no, I just had to dab the sweat off my forehead. I liked what he said to Ortiz. Come on, Ortiz, you're my essay. That was funny. And then Ortiz gets on the mic and says that MJF and Wardlow are definitely assets. They're growing on him. I like that he goes, Wardlow, don't change. You're fine. And then he goes, MJF, you're growing on me like a fungus. But he says that together, tells Sammy that together as one unit, they are the best. Tells Sammy to be the bigger man, that he's better than him, meaning Sammy, and he knows it. Sammy says that he will shake his hand, but says that if anything else happens, and he gets in the face and says to Jericho, if anything, I will quit the Inner Circle. Jericho's starting to wrap the promo, and MJF grabs the mic again, starts to talk, and Jericho's like, shut up, you're ruining it. And that's how it ends with them, their little Inner Circle flipping off signature posts. And so the Inner Circle continues on for now, but it does look like here we are getting potentially the foundation for a Sammy Guevara turn. Silvio, is that what you picked up here?
Somewhere down the line, we're going to get him and MJF. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say Hamin and I probably had the same favorite part of this. The mastery of this was the interaction between Hager and Wardlow and Jericho as the moderator, almost like the dad. This guy's always staring at me. No, you're looking at me. And then when they go back to the shot, they're side-eyeing each other. Fucking perfect.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna turn around and swat the both of you. Don't make me pull this car over, and then fucking I'll get you. Like that. It was good. It was good. I just don't like the fact that they're breaking these guys up. I don't like to build a faction to tear them down in a year's time. It just looks like faction wars and a cheap thing to do. I don't think they were on the skids. I didn't think they had jumped the shark as a faction. And to put they haven't. No, I don't think so either. So why are we playing this game out now? I think it's too early for this, man. And there's way more with MJF and Sammy and all that still. And then even obviously the big guys. And what can we do for LAX to give them something juicy? I mean, they got best friends, but there needs to be something more there, I think.
They could be going the Step Brothers route with it. And also something I thought of while watching that, when MJF did the angle with Cody, everyone knew MJF was going to turn, and then he did. Maybe they're going to do the opposite here, where they find a way to coexist and we stretch this out. So maybe we will get Sammy and MJF, but it's down the line. Or they have this match and find some weird respect for each other. MJF stops being as much of an asshole, at least to them, but is an asshole to everyone else in his life.
I like it.
Brennan, we're ready for your interview. We're doing a dual interview together. We're here to fuck shit up. Right? Step up line. All right. So after that, we moved on to I guess you might say, AEW's next, match, if you will. It was a 6-man tag, right? We had Eddie Kingston, the Butcher, the Blade taking on Lucha Bros and Lance Archer. I watched Lance Archer come out, and he came out and he dived over the rope on everyone. And I too, at that point, heard Ben Hamin yelling in my ear, "Why is Lance Archer jumping over the top rope?" Am I wrong, Ben? Were you yelling that?
Yeah, dude. I think you got the biggest guys high flying. So guess what? Your high flyers, when they do it, it don't mean shit. And you've got some of the best high flyers in this match. So be the giant, please. just if you're over 6'6", you don't have to leave your feet ever. You should never leave your feet ever, to be honest with you, because you have what everybody else doesn't, size. And to take yourself off out of the game that way, or to look like just athletic, that's going into biz for yourself. And you're taking somebody else's shit, man, you know, like that their opportunity to shine even brighter, and that's not supporting the overall cast. But they love their high spots, so they're going to do what they want to do. I had a problem with this match, even though I like all the guys in it, taking Penta out because supposedly he's hurt. Well, don't put him through a table. Tell that story. Stevie laid it out perfectly on the locker room. You'll hear it tomorrow. Have him come out with crutches and make it a 3-on-2. And then the heels cheat with the crutches to fucking go over, or Penta causes the fucking spot, right? In that. You got him on TV still. You don't have to kill him to put him on the sideline, play into the reality of it. They're so quick just to end a guy, to shelve him, to keep going with the thing. They don't see that the injury is the gift to the creative. Does that make sense? Like, you have this now, play the reality of it, and out of that, what can we do to keep these guys on top, using his injury as a front thing, or him even on a boy who cried wolf cell to distract and something along those lines so heels can get back over. They're just missing even the fundamental basics, man.
So Silvio, Ted wants to know: would you have liked to have seen the Lucha Bros chokeslam people? Would that have been cool for you to see?
Maybe Pentagon. But
Well,
I did like the Archer part. I liked when he jumped over the top. I thought it was cool.
Well, to continue on, as you mentioned, Butcher power bombed Pentagon Jr. to the table. That took him effectively out of the match. And then at one point, Lance Archer gets knocked out of the ring, leaving Phoenix by himself. And he eventually loses with Eddie Kingston and them going over. Eddie Kingston, Butcher to play. And then after the match, Lance Archer then takes everyone out. So you said what did you think of the match, Sylvia? Did you like this? You liked the high flyer, huh? You liked him jumping over?
I don't like him being a high flyer, but I was cool with, because he's tall, so the ropes come up to like.
He doesn't like him being a high flyer. He just likes it when he flies high. There's a big difference in both of those things.
We fly high.
Here's the difference. Bigger people can sparingly do things that highlight their athleticism as long as it's not the crux of what they do. For instance, I do a lot of fast stuff and I'll jump, do some fly and things like that. But also if I'm in there against MSG, I might bust out a stalling suplex or a power bomb, something that you don't necessarily see every time that keeps shit fresh. So I was okay with him doing that as long as his gimmick isn't he's a high flyer and he's doing it all day, every day. I kind of liked Archer as a baby face a little bit. He looks like he got a little more lean. He had aggression. It almost breathed like a little bit of new life into it. About the Penta thing, I don't know how to feel. I think we could have maybe done something simpler if he really is hurt, like maybe clip his knee from behind at the entrance or throw him into the post, let him take his own bump. But it worked out well. I didn't see that finish coming, but I was happy that Butcher and Blade got another pinfall victory on TV.
Yeah.
I was speechless.
Then I wasn't happy when Butcher went on Twitter and said, I'm writing an I miss you letter to one of my old sweatshirts I wish I had right now. Classic Butcher heat.
Classic Butcher. Well, up next, Abaddon took on Tessa Price. Quick match here just for Abaddon to get highlighted. She annihilated Tessa Price pretty quickly. And then hit it with the Widow's Peak to pick up the victory. Of course, the story being afterwards, she's continuing to beat down on Tessa until, of course, Shida comes out with the candlestick. She hesitates to come out to the ring, but forces herself out there, nails Abaddon right on top of the head. And then Shida and Price get out of the ring. As they look back, Abaddon sits up, and she gets up and just stares at Shida. So that's how this was set up here as they continue this potential match. It looks like here we're going to get Abaddon versus Shida with hopefully, maybe potentially a brand new champion. But what did you think, Silvio?
Abaddon is such a strong look, and just the makeup and the eyes and the details for the character looks amazing on TV. Like, she looks fucking awesome. It's really cool. It was short get over match. She did her part. The cell with Shida was cool. And a little bit of Tessa Price trivia here for you today. She was one of the original training partners of Jenna. They both trained together, came up at the exact same time under Rain, Bonnie Maxon, a very good female wrestler. And there she is getting an opportunity on Dynamite.
Yeah, Abaddon looks great, man. I agree. So different than anything else. And then the spot to hit her and lay her down, I didn't like, but there was to do the Undertaker setup. I just don't like a baby paying off. What's that?
Oh, if you follow Genocide on Facebook, she just posted this picture of her. I think it was with Tessa Price. They were doing like a Christmas pose. I didn't make the
But I don't like the baby hitting the heel with a weapon before the payoff match.
Why?
Because the heel should be getting heat on the baby.
Do you think that so you would rather seen Abaddon continue to scare Sheeta, pushing to that point where then she has to use the kendo stick?
Right, like she's about to use it and then swings at her and keeps her back like the lion tamer with the whip and enough to like and whatnot. You know what I mean? But the actual shot on her just so she can do the Undertaker sit up and no sell it. Now we're no selling weapon shots for the undead, and we could have gotten that message over without paying off some heat that way.
Would this tie it together and kind of hit the sweet spot for you? Sheeta runs in, Abby swings at her, Sheeta ducks, Sheeta hits her with the Falcon Arrow, Sheeta hits her with her knee finish, Abaddon's down, she picks up Tesha to leave, Abaddon sits up as the indestructible fucking zombie. But we got Sheeta using wrestling instead of the thing, and it told the audience, oh fuck, she just got up after Sheeta did her best stuff.
Yeah, I guess would have been better than the weapon. I just don't want the baby knocking out the fucking thing to show her that she's unbeatable. Let's just make her do the Undertaker setup while Tesha's getting her comeback. You know what I mean? And she sells it there. But I know the business was Sheeta, but I don't think she should be hitting her, even if it's to set up at all. So, because that means to me, now you can go hit that bitch with a kendo stick. Why would she fall down and sell the kendo stick just to sit up? Hit her with a kendo stick. She should just be able just to stay in the pocket and be impervious to that. She can feel pain for a little bit, but then doesn't. Undertaker mark out shit. Babies should not be getting heat on a run in on a heel.
But you got to remember, though, she was doing the right thing because Abaddon was brutalizing Tessa after the bell. So Sheeta did the noble thing a babyface would do. Whether the swing was noble.
Should have let her brutalize her, drip blood all over her, left her there dying. And she's crawling back up to the ramp to go down the thing. And Sheeta like comes out to go check on her and helps that girl out of the way to take her to the back and looks shaken like, oh, fuck, that could happen to me too. Instead, she ran in, faced the beast with no problem, whacked her, took her out, was ready to fucking get up and get out of there, then stood up, and then we got a reaction instead of true fear. Sheeta has no real fear because she ran in and fucking slayed the beast to Abaddon right away and knocked her the fuck down.
I was going to say,
mark out for the sit-up spot instead of doing real heat to get to the fucking payoff match.
I mean, if you play into the Animal Kingdom style, right? If you have one larger animal sitting over their prey and another animal's trying to come out or whatever, she should have just scared her off, right? It could have been simple as that. That's what the fear, setting the fear in, and then just chucking Tessa out of the ring or whatever when she's done with her carcass, right?
Right. She could have been drip blood all over and thrown her out there and made her watch her come get her and take her back. Like it's more about that. She'd have never should have fucking put a hand one, kendo stick one on her.
Well, for the second time in 48 hours, I'm going to read this promo. Kenny Omega comes out with Ton Callis. Tony Schiavone says that he has never been more disgusted in his life with what happened here last week. Don Callis says that he's not the only one that's upset. Tony Khan is upset, but Don Callis was an invited guest. He invited him into his house. Unfortunately, he learned a hard lesson. Welcome to the wrestling business, kid. He says they have been playing this for years. They said when they booked Jericho versus Kenny about a year ago, it helped create, or a couple years ago, it helped create AEW. You're welcome. And the fans wanted 7-star Kenny. Well, here he is, Kenny freaking Omega. Kenny then grabs the mic and he says that they bided their time for over a year. And what is better than a plaque, a pin, or anything else but this AEW championship? Now he's a champ and everyone at home fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. He doesn't care who fell for it. He cut out the comic book part from the night before, which was good. But then still repeated the same thing that he did on Impact, which was because on Impact I thought it was at least more of a bigger deal. I thought they should have saved this part for tonight because on Impact they were like, I haven't done this in over a year. Good night. I must bid you adieu, goodbye, smooch, good night, bang. Instead, they did it here on AEW after seeing it on Impact, but that's his thing. He brought it back. I know that's what he was doing in New Japan. So, Silvio, I'll start with you. What did you think of the promo?
I'm going to double down. I think last year the most compelling story and well-told story was between Omega and Hangman and everything that was going to happen, and they blew it off a year later. Now, starting in year 2, I think this Kenny Omega thing is the most compelling story they have right now. So I'm with it. I really like this new direction of Kenny Omega. I think it gives him some more identity. And with Callis, by default, Kenny's an asshole. And I like how Kenny has taken a straight heel route. We had all those weeks before where he would be kind of heel, and we even questioned it on the show, like, why is he doing that? But now it appears that there was a reason behind that, and he's going all the way with it.
Yeah.
Like when they ended the promo and they did the do the thing for the second night in a row, I kind of didn't like it. But then it dawned on me, I was like, that's good that I don't like it because Kenny is a heel. So odds are a lot of other people didn't like it either, which means hopefully he now has some heat. So I'm down with it. I thought the Impact promo, I felt it was stronger. I don't know why. It could just be personal preference, but I like the presentation. I love the helicopter. I'm looking forward to seeing more.
Mr. Hamin.
You want to see helicopters? I'll show you helicopters. It was same thing I saw on Tuesday night, except in an AEW ring with no Impact run-in to heighten the stakes. So now we're just know that Don Callis has known Kenny Omega his whole life, and he's the hand that has done all this in Japan. Well, good. I can beat everybody in Japan, so that shit don't impress me much. And guess what? There's nobody from Japan that you're fighting, so it don't mean shit. You're fighting Moxley, who's probably going to go back to WWE, make 5 times as much money as you, get his wife hired back, and you're going to call yourself the cleaner, and nobody knows what the fuck that means. I've never seen you shoot a gun, never seen you on a murder scene, never seen you do that kind of stuff. In fact, you've been showing up looking like you shop at Walmart with ripped jeans and not your own merch on, which, why would we want to sell our own merch and t-shirts and make money? I don't know. Instead, you're not wearing suits except for when they want to say, remember the old cleaner? And then they're like, we need the old cleaner. He wore a suit. And then they march him out that way. None of this really impressed me, had an impression on me, or made anybody look like a star. I was just thankful in this second promo we didn't fucking have to hear about Spider-Man, X-Men, and Superman #1.
Yeah. I will say, as far as Kenny Omega's his quote-unquote heel turn here, I do like his shift online as far as how he's talking to people. There was a conversation with Jerry Lynn who was like, shame on you, you know the rest. By the way, I'd kick out of your one-wing angel. And Kenny Omega responded by saying, I'd re-retire you faster than an Abaddon match, Jerry. So I kind of like that attitude and use of social media from Kenny Omega. I think that's good.
He just went at it with some asshole online. They just posted in the brand fan group where he was, he said some dumb shit where people were like, Dr. Billy or some shit was saying, I tuned into Impact and to see what the hype and update was about. I waited to an hour and 45 minutes and then they didn't do anything and it was lackluster and it wasn't even that stiff of a message. Omega writes back, you kind of sound like a dickwad, so I'm glad you won't be watching anymore anyway. Just high-level championship shit. I remember when fucking, Warrior and Brett and all those guys used to get into it like that with people. And
well, they didn't have Twitter. Warrior would have. Warrior would have been a menace to society.
He would have been halfway decent, actually. But that kind of shit, when you're trying to be cool and in the cut, it just shows how little they care about protecting and creating a reality in the business that they dreamed about being in and being the star of one day. And now they have those spots and they're playing it like it's junior high school. I just can't cut that any slack.
I'll say this, man. I'm not a New Japan diehard. I don't follow it. And I'm not a Kenny Omega diehard. I haven't been singing his praises for a year.
Nothing worth following.
Between the first 2 years of AEW and what's happening now, despite some of your feelings on it, Kenny Omega is a great storyteller, man. And I think that's going to keep coming out, especially with Don by his side, who I think has a bit more range on promos. I think we're going to see some good shit, man. He's been capturing me with his stories, which isn't an easy task to do. So I want to see
The
what
only
happens.
story I can think of is the split between him and Hangman and being an odds couple team. I can't think of
This is a huge story. Him and Callis, what's going on with them? He beat Moxley.
Oh, well, I mean, before that, you're saying the greatest story. Even in that promo, Moxley's like, the greatest matches in Mexico. I'm like, maybe 400 Mexicans know about it. I don't know who the fuck you faced in Mexico, and I don't give a shit because it didn't have any impact on a global scale. But you guys keep going Horwitz all day long like it's the fucking end-all be-all.
Though he should be Horwitz.
Yoki Joshi and any other Okada motherfucker in the same night. None of those guys impressed me.
But they impressed Matt.
Not really. Jargo maybe, but they're not drawn. They're nobody. They're for a very small crowd of people who buy PWI 500 and think these assholes like Meltzer know what they're talking about when they have no clue and they're on the payroll to say good things. Let's talk about the reality of wrestling and how these cocksuckers don't even know how to sell or do moves that are so many falsies that burn everything else on the card. And then we come back around. We're supposed to look at them like they're the heroes that we could never be. And they're talking about Spider-Man #1.
Action Comic Spider-Man #1. Apologies.
Superman #1.
Fuck out of here, man. Just brutally bad.
So it sounds to me like this dilemma you're having is more related to comics than it is to Kenny.
Yeah, it's not being a star is what I have a problem with. Comic book buyers are nerds who like wrestling, who want to live vicariously because they can't be the heroes they want to be. That's why they like comics. That's why they like wrestling. Now we have those heroes showing that they're nerds and that they're claiming to be the heroes. It doesn't work that way, and it never will. I don't care if it's for this small demographic. They can all go tongue each other's assholes for all I care, because none of that is going to increase the number to keep them over 1 million viewers every week. The only thing that's gonna is Shaq, Snoop Dogg, Mike Tyson. And when they get him, what do? Throw water in his face, catch him yawning on camera. And I wonder what they'll have Snoop do next. Quit weed, go sober on camera at AEW. Like, what the fuck?
There he goes.
Well, final main event of the night here. Let's wrap up with this Light the Fuse review. MJF versus Orange Cassidy in the Dynamite Diamond Ring Finals. And ultimately in this match, there was a lot of hoopla and interference by both sides as the Inner Circle came out with MJF. Or the Best Friends came out, and then they also brought a couple other people. They brought some friends to even up the odds. Ultimately, though, after the cluster that happened with everybody, with Miro coming out, getting involved with Kip Sabian, and clotheslining Orange Cassidy, ref had the back turned around to see MJF with his arm over Orange Cassidy and picked up the victory 1, 2, 3. However, I mean, realistically, the story of this match was Miro. I mean, I know MJF was the victory, but you go off the air thinking about Miro, and I totally forgot there was a Dynamite Diamond Ring match. I don't know. Kind of took away the focus of that main event.
Yeah, the Diamond Ring should have been it, right? It's an actual prize. Miro gets his heat with one of the classic AEW. Hey, here's a finish that's satisfying. Fuck that. Get him in there. Forget that feeling of satisfaction. Get him in there and do new business. Forget about what we just did for 10 minutes and all those bumps, and all that hand heat. Just so we can look at this guy's Versace sweater and be like, ooh, he's a fashionista. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, this was a good match too of hand heat. And a good story, and it was all blown out of, and the ring was supposed to be something that meant nothing. You forgot all about it at the end of the show, and the match meant nothing because the last thing you think of is Rusev hulking up at the end. So why even do that, So
I don't mind if Rusev if that was the storyline, he was in the main event, he was standing tall or whatnot, or if Orange Cassidy had won, but then Miro beat the shit out of him, and that continues to lead along that storyline, would have made a little bit more sense. But for Miro to stand tall after an Inner Circle victory, it definitely was a little confusing.
Boy, I mean, he just looks so strong, killing the guy who has his hands in his pockets, who weighs 200 pounds less than him.
I mean, I think he would look. What'd you say, Matty?
Oh, I liked him beating up all the security guards. I like Miro doing all I like that. That was cool.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you would have looked good in that Versace sweatshirt.
I liked it. I liked it, but I wouldn't have just done the spot to show that I wear androgynous clothes and now I'm a fashion guy. Like, dude,
you can't even spell Versace.
Versace. But yeah, man, he had good facials and whatnot at the end, but it did take away from everything MJF did. And that MJF promo in the beginning to set this match up made it high stakes. He made this match mean something, and then all that was undone with his run-in at the end. So we're just doing too much business in a segment. That's the main thing, though, that we need to overcome.
I could see that. I got a few high points on this match. I thought MJF worked a brilliant and logical match. Very smart, easy heel stuff. If you notice, MJF was moving out of the way on things and letting Cassidy cut himself off. Everything MJF was doing had pretty good heel psychology. I really appreciated that. I thought the Eddie spot was awesome too, where they set up the fake Eddie spot, but MJF had the egg on his face.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. The double Eddie. I thought that was an interesting choice for sure. I was like, okay, I like it. Ben, am I excited for the 7-on-7 tag team match Khan made for next week? No. 5-on-5 is scary enough and a lot of chance for people to get hurt. I can almost guarantee you 2 people will get hurt in that 7-on-7 tag team match because they got to get their shit in, do a bunch of spots to the outside. And that's usually when somebody gets hurt, when they fall wrong or land on somebody's knee or some little thing like that, where we have to be in a specific spot for something and somebody's out of place. That's usually when it happens. So I can almost guarantee there'll be an injury where somebody's on the shelf for at least a month coming out of that match. So no, I don't like that. And you can't see shit because you got 7 guys, 3 on one side, 4 on the other. So now they're all standing on the apron and you got to shoot overhead over their shoulders to try and see in the ring. Not smart from a digital production standpoint or easy to follow and dangerous for your workers. So, and what stakes is in a 7-on-7 match that anybody cares about unless you're doing a war games with 2 rings and a big cage?
Who's in this match?
I don't know. Everybody but me and you, apparently.
Maddie, do you know who's in it? I didn't even know there was a 7-on-7. We might be being ribbed by one of the fans here in the chat.
I didn't think there was 7-on-7. I know that the Dark Order, Silver, and Hangman were. Someone says 7-on-7. That's like a Survivor. I don't know. I didn't hear that.
Maybe I don't know. JC Sports fan said it.
Hey, this was, I think, though, the best Orange Cassidy and AEW match.
I can't disagree with that.
So good job to him and MJF.
Just selling heat, then hand story. That's it.
There you go. Look at how over Darby Allin is. Selling, does a few moves.
So. Here we go. Yeah, so it just was announced, like it just got announced like about a half hour ago. Following last night's episode of AEW, President Tony Khan took to Twitter to announce a 14-man tag team bout for next week's program, which will pit the entire Inner Circle faction against the Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Brandon Cutler, Top Flight, and the Varsity Blondes. Khan went on to say, I've signed a 14-man tag match. And then he led Trent and Chuck just led the team to Orange Cassidy defense. Now they have a shot to lead them to a huge win. He later clarified by adding, sorry, great night of AEW Dynamite, but bad typo by me. You're fighting to real blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's a very long tweet, but yes, it just got announced. So that was, yeah. Anyway, there you go. So yeah, there is a 7-on-7 match coming. What do you think? You excited? No?
Best ever.
I'm excited to see where this Kenny Omega angle goes, baby.
All right, well, guys, that's it, guys. We're wrapped up for the edition of Like the Fuse, your AEW review. I'm your host on the scene where the air is clean and I'm lighting, sparking, growing green. Your boy, MSG. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Jaffer. Brand new episode of the New Force Order podcast. Episode 90 is up right now. Search Hacker Hamin on all of your podcast outlets and download it. You can hear all their breakdowns more in depth this now on Boba Fett's return to the Star Wars universe, as well as a interview that they went over with Diego Luna, who stooged off where he was filming location for the brand new Rogue One prequel series that's set to start. So you can check that out on the New Force Order podcast. Triple D and John Enright just sent me over the Star Trek podcast. So that'll be up in an hour. I'll have it up for you guys an hour later this afternoon. And of course, brand new episode of Suck My Balls is up, episode number 53, Cartman's Silly Hate Crime 2000. Tomorrow, we are recording. So next week, we'll have a Twitch gaming streamer and Hamin Media Group fan. He's got over 1,000 followers on his Twitch. Captain Cannabis will be joining us next week. So that'll be fun. So check that out. And that's all I've got today. Mr. Silvio, where can the people look at you and follow you and become like you, become a better person?
Well, I am Chris, and I am still not on social media at the Chris Silvio. Should you need some training and guidance, I am accepting a very, very, very small number of folks. You can send me a direct message on Facebook, send it to Chris Silvio, or you can email me old school style at csilviobookings@gmail.com. I was thinking on it the last couple of days, and I'm going to figure it out and let everybody know. But I'm working on some kind of like giveaway holiday Christmas thing for some of our fans here. So hopefully I'll have that ready to roll next week. And don't forget, please support Genocide tomorrow night. Mission Pro, best women's promotion going today. Buda, Texas, title match wrestling network. And she is at Genocide00 on your social medias and patreon.com/GenoveMuscles.
I just want to correct myself. Captain Keith is the Twitch username. Captain Cannabis is Val Venus podcast, which he is coming to the Conspiracy Horseman.
I was wondering, I thought you just juked him off the Conspiracy Horseman and
That's
put
what
him
I was going to say.
I was almost proud of you for a minute.
I took care of myself.
I mean, have you chatted with Val yet on air?
No, we've been trying to get him on for 2 years, and he's hot and cold. But then this past week, he sold for me and put a bunch over, and then Maddie reached out and trying to set it up. So, it's wrestlers.
When we get done, I'll tell you.
It's wrestlers. So also working on Sam Tripoli and a couple others, man. So all big things going down. Yes, please.
So you also mentioned Christmas stuff about doing like a Christmas thing. I know the Smack Attack is also going to be recording a Christmas special that'll be coming out on Christmas, and each of us are going to be contributing. So I don't know if they've reached out to you yet, but they wanted me to ask you if you wouldn't mind, if you wanted to stop in and say hello,
sure,
if you got some time. All right, cool.
Just agent it for me, Maddie. Let me know where and when and who.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Big time, good. I mean, a solid show. I really liked the Varsity Blondes, man, tonight. That was probably the highlight for me, going away with everything. And Big Shaq Diesel, I'm always a fan of as well, and Snoop D-O-double-G. They're doing the right things that WWE isn't, and then WWE selling for them with these little petty things of pulling merch and whatnot. Ooh, not a good look at all, Briz. I hope they really step up the Impact attack on Impact, and we get some real heat there, not just some Kenny Omega and Office stuff back and forth. They marginalized Rich Swann and made him look like less than a champ. I think it would have been great if Swann jumped on the bus and got in Omega's face, and that was the heat where we were going to have that match, champ versus champ, and even could end in a 20-minute draw and put them both over. But we didn't get any of that. So hopefully next week we get a little bit more meat and potatoes on our plate instead of just, hey, it's the hype, tune in, and then wah, 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 wah. Please, no more comic book talk. No more of that cosplay shit. Let's get back to building real stars that are larger than life characters and not just telling me that you're over and I have to believe that you're over. Make the persona, please. You can go to Brosters, get the Vince Russo Bro coffee, Zordos olive oil, ProWrestlingTees.com/all-of-us. Appreciate you guys with the Twitter bomb interacting. Again, big shout out to Larry H all week for hooking up my 3D printer, man. We'll see when it gets here how frustrated I get trying to get it installed. We'll be making new videos, patreon.com/Hamin Media Group all week long, you guys. New Rip Rogers podcast will be out, and I heard it's fire. So I appreciate Dr. Ted going out there doing that, and we've got plenty of business going down at Russo brand with the free month, you guys. So sign up now, spread the word. Let's get the let's take a little bit from the mortgage brokers and the Meltzer Seltzers and bring them over to where the real wrestling talk with the real veterans is, here on your Light the Fuse podcast.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Silvio
and MSG and Hacker Hamin infidels. Yo, light it up, totem up.